We do not gatekeep, but we give you access and we help you shift your mind from lack to abundance. I am your host, Fire Ash, and I want to say if you're ready to take your mindset to the next level, I just want to say, hey, friend, welcome to the table. So, on today, I have with me my brother in Christ, a man of God who is not just amazing, but he has an amazing testimony, an amazing story. So let me tell you a little bit about LeLand. So LeLand is an Army combat veteran, an IFBB professional bodybuilder, and a certified fitness professional with 15 years in the industry. He holds degrees in exercise science, sports management, interscholastic sports administration. He is the founder of Iron 252, a faith-driven leadership development brand that coaches executives, pastors, and emerging leaders to develop across every dimension of their leadership: body, mind, spirit, and influence. And so as I like to ask all of my guests, I want to ask you my famous question. Who is LeLand beyond the bio?
Man, great question. First, thanks for having me, and praise God. Um, Whenever I hear that question, it always reminds me of Viola Davis's Becoming Viola. Will Smith asked her that question on the set of, I think, Suicide Squad 2. And she kind of gave a surface level answer. He was like, no, like, who is Viola? So if you're asking who Will Smith is, I'm going to tell you, the young boy from Philly. So when you ask me that question, who is living beyond the bio, man, um, I am, I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. I am a black father, proud black father and black husband,
Yes.
and a son of a black mother, who raised me predominantly, who made sure, come hell or high water, that I was able to be cared for in her presence. And that's where my roots come from. It comes from strife, from triumph, from pain, from grit, but from truth. And with that, it allowed me to matriculate into, malehood and then manhood, as a thrust into manhood as a young age. And with that, I had to pick up life quickly, which then led to my veteran status and me serving, and me serving as a coach. But just as a young black man, audience, you all are looking at someone who was a teenager who had a felony at 13, a freshman year in high school. And that's who I am. I'm a man that's lived a lot at only 36 years old, 6 months, from today, I'll be 6 months, whatever, September. I'll be 36, but I've lived a life of of many experiences in a short window, for whatever God called me to do. And who I am today is because of those experiences. Not they don't hold me down, but they propel me forward. And I'm a man that released those things. I'm a man that pours that now, and I'm a man that birthed Iron 252, which coaches fathers and men to be, as Ash said, we want to improve, make sure our influence, our stature with God, favor with man, and influence as well too. So mind, body, spirit, and influence is what we're about, because that's what I had to go through. And that I had to embody that, and I had to accept, not accept in a way where this is who I am, I had to accept that it happened to me. But as we're learning in this new testimony of our series at church, I can't control my triggers, my trauma, but I can control what I do with my trauma. Once I let that go, and I did this a while ago, but once I let those traumas go and stop running from not telling folks that I had a felony at 13, not telling folks that, I had suicidal ideation in 2018 after having a great year in my life and turning pro that year. I continued accumulating accolades because I was making sure that I was protected by the success as I was running from who I truly was. But once I let that go, the sea parted. the sea parted, and I was able to get out of that boat like Peter did and listen to God's voice. And that's where I am today.
That's good. Now, I just want you to know, as I said before, I have so many questions, and it's like the more that you talk, the more I want to ask more questions. So, one of the questions that I want to know is, you said you had a felony at the age, I think you said 13 years old. I want to know what in your life, what caused you to have to grow up quickly?
Well, as we know, and I wrote this in my very first book, which is titled Growing Up Black, A Fight Against Culture in the World. Most black homes are predominantly raised by single black mothers. My father was in my life, but he wasn't in my life in the capacity to in the same home, or maybe the rod of discipline, or a bit more just, what I deemed he could have done. In that sense, my mother raised me, and I seen her in marriages, but she named me man from the womb. She named me man. So she named me man because she saw me, but I don't think her as a mother at that time realized what that would carry.
Yeah.
You know, so as you hear that as a young man who's the guy in the home, me and my sister and my mom, any man that comes in there, I'm man, that's my name. Like I'm gonna, you know. So that grew me up. I'm from Cincinnati. If people remember First 48, many of those episodes were, cast there. I've seen the city on fire from riots. I've seen one of my friends get shot in my backyard. I've seen so many things that made me grow up quick alongside of my mom seeing me as a man and protecting her from previous spouses, and had 1 year had a pedophile that was spying on my mom and my sister, and I'm defending. I'm like, people wanted to come at me and attempt to want to bully me because I was smaller, just because for no other reason, just because, right? So, and I stood my ground, and I just had to be that guy that just had to be tough and silent. The felony was a matter of not knowing that a law was a law, and that was the unfortunate part. That was the unfortunate part, is I was unfortunately being driven by music and Black culture, experimenting and doing things we shouldn't have done. So intercourse, didn't know that was a crime. Shouldn't have been doing it anyway, but let alone being that. And then when it hit me, as I was going through this court process, well, at 4 years old, I told my mother that I'm gonna get us out of the hood by football. And she still to this day has those same red cleats from 1994 with that on there. But that was the goal from 4 years old. I played football from 4 until 27, except for my freshman year, because I was on probation and therapy because my sentence was 5 years in prison.
Oh wow!
My freshman year.
Oh wow.
And the judge called me everything other than the son of God on my name. She said I was a delinquent, a threat to society, all of these things. In the midst of that court process, the person that was responsible for being a guardian during that time when this happened never showed up for me in court. Wow. And it kept getting continued until they was like, we got a sentence. And because that person didn't show up, I lost trust in people. So I hated the world. So I was going into my freshman year. My dream was, in my mind, stripped from me because to go to the league was done. Because now I can't play football my freshman year. That's your first year for the resume to get to college and all these things. Because my first semester, I'm either catching the bus by myself, the city bus, to therapy before school, or leaving school early to go to probation downtown, which is taking 2 buses, take the transfer to get the number 4 downtown, to go to the Justice Center at 13 to go talk to my probation officer every other Thursday. So my first semester, or my freshman year in total, I ended up with a 2.7 GPA. And in my mind, that's way below the standard. But I was silent. I didn't like talking to people. I had a demeanor to where I just hated folks. I had my small group of friends, but they didn't even know this. If they ever watch this, they might just now be finding out about this. I just really started talking about it a couple of years ago, but in detail this past year. So I had to grow up quickly, because it was like, I'm going to go to jail.
Yeah.
You're about to go sit down in 5 years, no high school, no football, no education, no nothing. And lo and behold, I was able to serve 1 year reporting and 4 years deferred and not finish the sentence behind bars. But I still hated the world, because now you took that from me. And that's what really made me grow up fast. Now, forget the parts. When I forget, on the top of growing up in the hood, having folks that just envious of me, you got street life, gang life pulling you, you're a threat because you're silent, or you're a target because you're silent, rather. So all of these things, as I'm internalizing, and my father's not into my life enough as I would want him to, I'm dealing with these things, and my name is man. I gotta be tough because now I got this shield because the judge called me a delinquent. I just don't like folks because everybody's suspicious to me now. I don't trust nobody. I'm pulling my hair out. I done undone my braces by my bare hands. Like I was,
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I was. I was. But God, I graduated 4th in my class with a 3.7.
Wow.
Right? So, but I still hated the world.
Turning a story around. Wait. So at this time, you still hated the world,
even when I graduated. I had 1 year I did 4 sports in high school, but I was a three-sport athlete predominantly. Graduated 4th in my class from a 2.7 freshman to a 3.7 when I graduated. Honors, National Honor Society, I could have went to any school in the country, at all. My GPA was okay. And I'm talking about sports wise too as well. My GPA granted me access across the country because I had a 3.7. So by standard for NCAA, I was able to go anywhere I wanted to. But I still hated the world because I still felt like I was ripped of a part of me. So I just didn't trust people. So then I had this anger, this aggression, this grit. Then I'm already smaller in statures, but I was strong, but I was smaller, So I got to be defensive, in my mind. I got to be tough. Rap music really led me a lot. That was I love 50 Cent. So you can imagine at that age, I'm writing rhymes, and it's all about aggression, hurtful. I'm mad.
Yeah.
Because I had to. And then my name was Man. And so I had folks that just wanted to fight me just because, neighbors and all. My mother had a spouse that stalked us. So I had to protect the house from that. So we talk about why did I have to grow up so quick? I had no choice. I had to protect my sister and my mother. I had to protect myself.
Wow.
I had to. What was I gonna do? Like fold? I can't fold. Then you're really gonna be seen as weak.
Yeah, and I feel like even in you being seen as weak, if you fold, that brings on more. It's gonna be more trouble anyway. So might as well make a decision. Yeah. So that makes me wonder, okay, so you've taken us through this journey of understanding like what were the circumstances that was leading you to growing up faster. I want to know more about how did you get past that anger? Like what led to you not hating the world? Like what was that journey into like where you are now?
So I graduated at 17 going on 18. So like I said, I still hated the world. So you asked the question, what led me getting there? I went to college, played college football, still hated the world. Get to college, coach promising me all these extra funds. I went to a D3 school because I turned down the only D1 offer because being young and naive. I was like, I'm gonna go where I'm gonna play. I could have went on scholarships and elsewhere, and I didn't. So he's like, school costs. Ain't nobody teaching about financial literacy in the hood. Save your money. That was
my goodness. Thank you very much.
Right? That was it. Save your money. Make money. Save. My first job, I was a golf caddy. So I knew how to make money. But making money don't teach you how to grow money. Right? So we don't learn about credit. Mom didn't have the best. She did for it, but as far as credit-wise, that's not what we did. Music didn't teach us that either, right? So when I'm going into this college now to PWI as well, that costs about $45,000 a year. So they gave me grants for the first semester, but I'm like, okay, coach. He said, we're going to have money, don't worry. I'm like, well, the quarter about over. Like, I'm not taking out no loan. I'm barely 18. So they're not going to give me a loan anyway. The Discover loans was did back then. And so time was up. And, he lied. And I felt, again, trust. I'm hearing your word. You're a coach. You say you're going to take care of me. The finances going to come in, this and that. And then they don't. Another trust factor, right? I've already been burned, so I don't trust you anyway. Now you're doubling down on that pain, that trauma, that trigger, right? Yeah. So when he didn't, I left school, went back home, got 2 jobs, worked for a bit. And I was like, I can't stay here. So my mom one day, I was like, I'm gonna join the military. She's like, no, you're not. I said, watch me. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? In my mind, I'm grown, which technically I'm like, but I knew myself. I said, if I stay here, I'm gonna become a statistic somehow, some way. I wouldn't do anything bad, but I don't mind.
But the environment,
I'm in the same environment. I graduated high school. No matter that I graduated 3.7, that ain't gonna matter. That don't mean nothing. You just graduated. Right. So when I went to service, I was trying to get out of there as fast as possible. Representation matters. So when I called the Navy first, they were going to take too long. I went to talk to them for a bit, called the Army, went back home. She was excited. I said, the Navy said going to take about 6 months. She was like, good. I said, I'm going to call the Army. So I was like, that don't mean nothing. I'm calling the Army. So I called the Army. His name was Staff Sergeant Clayton. He got to my house in probably about 10 minutes flat from like a 20-minute drive.
Oh, wow.
So he shows up, Black brother. So representation matters. Black brother, he's decked out, I don't know what they were at the time, but he's got awards on and tabs on. I'm like, whatever you do, I want to do that.
I want to be a part of that. That's funny. Yeah.
Right. So we go and do a practice test. He tell me some cool things, show me some people jumping out of helicopters and whatnot. I'm like, I'm going to do that. Shooting gun. Like, I want to do that. Right. Yeah. So he said, well, when do you want to leave? I was like, tomorrow. Like, you can't do that fast. I'm like, look, I'm trying to get out of here, dude. So long story short about that part. End up going and serving in the United States Army as an infantryman, which is people call it grunt. Like, but what's your job? Train killer. Okay, yeah, yes, right. But
because I have no idea what that meant when you said it. I was about to ask, what is that?
Yeah, so But everyone, even at MEPS, they're like, well, with this score, because you get an ASVAB test, you scored so high, you can do any job you want to. I was like, bro, I'm trying to get out of here. They trying to offer me. He trying to offer me, and that's what the staff sergeant Clay who showed up. That's what he did. He was like, I'm infantry. I'm a red beret, which means I'm an airborne trooper, which means they jump out of planes. I'm like. I want to do infantry. I want to be an airborne infantry soldier. Like, I want to do what he's doing. I want to the red, this and that, right?
He's the example of what I want to do.
Yeah. So he and I on the same accord. So when he takes me to the MEP station, the liaison just trying to get paid, and he's trying to make his quota. So he's trying to push another job. He's trying to explain to me, man, you got this score so high, your GT scores are high, you can do whatever job you want. I'm gonna give you this much money versus this much. I can only give you. He was like, I can only give you 10 grand for infantry. I can give you 20, 30 grand. I said, sir, I'm not driven by money. I'm from the hood. Like, I'm not worried about no money. Like, I'm trying to get out of here. So he kept pushing. My recruiter was like, just get this man what he wanted to do. He was like, one more time, I can give you 25 grand in school. I said, let me tell you, I will walk away from this desk. I'm not here for no money. Like, I just want to go. So got signed up. It was like, when you want to leave? I was like, as soon as I can. They said, well, as soon as it's 2 weeks. Well, my mom said, I'm going to be out there in 2 weeks. February 9th, I was gone. February 9th, 2009, I was gone. Graduated 08, February 9th. So I went to school, came home, worked 2 good jobs. Was like, I just can't get out of here. February 9th, I was gone. And I still hated the world. But then
this is crazy. Yeah. That you still hated the world. Wow. Keep going.
Well, because these decisions were now like, I'm going to control my life now. Because guess what happened? Remember, I had that felony at 13. I had a 5-year sentence. That's from 13 to 18. It's a juvie record. And then they sealed it. Well, to get into the Army, or to get into service and period, Sergeant Clayton had to go downtown on my behalf with me and get that record sealed and then expunged.
Yeah.
So that way I can join. So he went into that part for me. So now I'm taking back control of my life. This judge called me delinquent, the world, this and that. Maybe feel this kind of way, but now it's my turn.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to do what I want to do. That's why I said, I'm going to join. My mom said, you can't join. I said, I'm going to do what I want. I done spent 5 years trying to be silent, get into little fights and tic-tac like that. But this is my time now. I'm man. You call me man. I'm 18. Nothing you can do about it. So this was me now fighting the world back.
Yeah.
I'm going to serve. I'm going to do the wars. Because so you join infantry as a black man, they'd be like, well, you're a black guy. You join infantry. That's crazy. It's like, an elephant inside of your home. Like, why you got this animal inside of here? It's rare, right?
Wow.
But I wanted that. And it's a dirty job because it's long days, long nights, it's risky. I'm like, bro, my mom out there, she listens to this. I had a gun to my head at 15 years old. Somebody wanted to kill me. Wow. Right? She probably, when she watches, she ain't gonna know about that till now.
Yeah.
Right. And I told that person, I said, you gotta kill me. But I was at the wrong place. Shouldn't have been there. But then I had folks even beyond that wanted to fight me and threaten to kill me because I was dating his sister, his quote sister, just because. For no reason. They just didn't like Leland because he's a small guy. How is he able to date? I'm like, bro, y'all bugging. I'm just me. Yeah. I'm just me. Listen, one of my prom days, I took her to prom by hitting her in the face by accident. That was the intro. I was not like
what?
Yeah. So I wasn't this kid in school who people say you the cool kid. No, but I had my group of guys who we were in athletics and we were about our academics. And even though they had their walks and whatnot, and I even love their parents too as well, I still had this pain inside because what they don't know that I had to deal with, right? And I got to go home. I'm talking about life was tough. I remember going home at times where the water bill ain't paid, so we got to pour water inside of the toilet for it to flush. My life was tough. So I'm going to school, putting on not a front, but I got to be hard because life already hard, right? So all of these things add up, So now that I've grown and I done got out of that spot, I'm about to fight the world now. I'm about to punch you straight in the face every time I can. So I'm gonna get everything. I'm gonna get the accolades. I'm gonna go to college, play college football. I'm going to serve because that's over with. When I felt betrayed now because I can't play college football, right? So the goal is still the NFL. Let's not forget. 1994, that was the goal. So my mind, I'm like, the coach done took the dream from me. The judge tried it in 2003. The coach done it in 2008 now. So I'm still have this angst, against the world. Not to mention my father was there, but I'm like, as I'm growing up, I'm like, man, and I don't notice I'm in my 30s. I'm not knowing these feelings, but I also wrote that book at the height of COVID. So around 30s, so to answer the question a bit, that's when I kind of started letting it go. but I was still carrying this hate to the world. And I got married at 19 to my son's mom. You know, we got married young, and you know, she had 2 kids, and I met her. And then we had my son, got married young. You know, and learning to like just be a father and a husband on my own.
Yeah.
After seeing examples of marriage from my father and my mother separately, of like, So I'm trudging and trudging. And at the time, because people want to know the faith journey, when I went to serve, I was hell on fire. So I wasn't raised in the church, but we knew church. We went to church.
Yeah.
But I remember there was a girl in church who I was at a after church event or a kids event, you know, and you know, this taller girl was like, I don't know, she was like talking back and forth and whatnot. She put her hands on me. Remember the old radiator heaters, the old metal ones? So she ended up hitting me and pushed me into the radiator heater. So that caused me to have like my own form of church hurt. So I'm like, I don't even like rock with y'all. But now like folks putting their hands on me in church, you know, not like aggressive, but it happened. So like, I'm like, so now when I'm on my own now, I'm like, yeah, I know God. Heck, I had a Bible, but now I'm my own man. So when I'm 19, I'm going to service, and I'm at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. It was a brother who had met one of my best friends there. He actually killed himself, unfortunately, years ago. But it was another soldier that had himself in a mental institute. You know, and when he finally got out, we were trying to be good young soldiers and a good friend to him. So he needed a car to go see his new baby that he had. He went into the institute because he had alcohol issues. When he got out, we went to our first sergeant, and we were just privates at the time. We was like, hey, you know, first sergeant, can we go help him get a car so he can get around to see his baby and whatnot? So we thought we were doing a good thing as us 2 soldiers trying to take care of our friends. We get him a car, and, you know, that weekend we see him go out, and he was, you know, he came back to the barracks for some lady that he was with, like whatever, maybe just whatever, right? For the following day, he goes out again, and we don't know about it. Well, that morning, we all get called back for accountability. He killed himself driving 85 miles per hour to an on-ramp. They had to identify him by his dentures. I felt guilty because he killed himself in the very car we helped him get. So that Sunday happened to be on a Saturday. That Sunday, me and Ty, we're feeling it. I'm really feeling it. So then I was like, you want to talk to the chaplain? I'm like, I guess. Let me talk to the chaplain. So the chaplain talked to me about my religion. Well, I'm kind of like, yeah, I know God. But at that time in 2009, I was like, trying to figure out who I was from in terms of like faith and spirit. And I didn't know the term of it at the time. So then he helped me figure it out. It's like agnostic. So at that time, I'm like, yep, I know that there's a God. And I'm like, I'm just a God in me. Like, I done been through all that. All right, I know there's a God, but like, it's a God in me. God's in me. Like, I'm the king.
It was so much pride that was built up.
Because I'm like, I was like, how did God allow this friend of mine that we helped to die? And I felt responsible. I felt like I helped him get the vehicle that killed him. So I'm like, yo, God, like, you did me dirty. So now I'm like, I'm gonna be agnostic. I'm gonna, you know, and that's where I was at from 19 to 34. From 19 to 34.
That's a nice little period right there.
So you can
lengthy period.
From 19 to 34. I didn't start letting go of some of that hurt against the world though until probably after a lot more after my suicidal ideation in 2018. So 2019, after me and my son's mom, when we split, you know, I'm still going through trauma with that. But that was probably when I first started. Let me start letting some of it go a bit. And then when I hit 30, I was really like I finally wrote that book because I was writing that growing up black. It was gonna be this long book. I kept writing it, throwing it away, writing it, throwing it away. I went to IHOP one day. I'm writing, throwing it away. And then when COVID hit, so I became a teacher. So after the service, I also became a teacher. So I've taught in the classroom.
Interesting.
Yeah. So and I came from as a teacher with a military background, not the traditional way. So and I taught in Title I schools with brown and black children, with young black men who don't have fathers. And so I'm there from military background, professional bodybuilder, you know, big stature. And I'm like, I'm not taking no nonsense from you young men. So different vibe. So I wrote that book at the height of it and I condensed it. I just got to get it out. And it was growing up black, a fight against culture in the world. And I just really much what we just talked about, I smashed my whole like adolescence and middle adulthood into that book. And it talks the same things that young men were delivering right now. I talked about it in my book on how our moms thrust us into being a man of the house or the neighborhood, and how the world sees me as a threat to my black man, but the hood sees me as I'm either gonna be on one side of the fence or the other, either red or blue,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And when I turned 19, when I went into service, you know, again, these things, and I love this part. I know God is amazing. Like, so I when I got to El Paso, I got blessed in to the Bloods.
Interesting.
Because I already put in work. Like, so it was like the grit was there. I shown who I was. I was down in El Paso, Texas with street teams, promoting clubs while I was serving too. While I was serving. So like,
Wow.
yeah, so I guess I'm
So much
19.
life has been lived.
I'm 19.
Yeah.
These people done took my life from me in that sense, that judge and whatnot. So now I'm taking stuff back. Like, I'm letting all this aggression out in how I live now, right? So, you know, like I said, I wasn't like the cool kid in the school. Like, people didn't like me because they didn't like me because I wasn't cool. They didn't like me because they knew me, but they also knew that I didn't like them. I just didn't like nobody because the judge messed up with everybody.
He messed it up for us all.
She messed it up for everybody.
Oh, it wasn't her. She messed it up.
Oh yeah, she messed it up because now I'm like, I ain't talking to nobody unless they're real close to me. Like, I don't trust none of y'all, not even family, right?
Yeah.
Except my mother, my father, my sister, and my first cousin. My first cousin very had a very heavy impression on me. You know, and it's like an older brother to me. But yeah, so I'm like, I was blessed in, you know, so like I was living a double life. Like, I'm serving as a U.S. soldier, but I'm also like, so. And now then I joined my mom's in the motorcycle club as well too. So I'm like affiliated with so much, right? Acting a plum fool.
Yes.
Plum fool. And just in total. And that's why, and I'm again agnostic. So I'm like, I'll talk about God there now. And I can give some folks, listen, I done gave folks they ringer about them again, thinking they knew God then. Cause I'm like, you can't tell me because I know your work. Listen, I was on a tangent at sometimes, but I was walking my own life. And I had also began coaching at 17 before I graduated high school. So I'm a trainer, you know, so all of these things. So now I'm going to do this training thing on the side while I'm in service, all these things and whatnot, you know, and I felt God had a calling for me to help people in a way, even though I hated the world.
Yeah.
I still had a desire to help people.
Wow.
Because my heart had always been big, which is why it was so painful when them folks didn't show up for me in court. I'm like, yo, like, I already love. So now it's like, how does somebody that naturally loves become so mad and so angry? So I started letting that go around 30 and then even more pain through which I'm sure you'll ask me those questions a bit later, but I had to, again, from 19 to 34, I was my night. I didn't, you know, I knew God, but me and God was like this,
right?
You know, I see you, he see me, but he didn't lead me. But I'm like, I talk to you when I need to, but I'm gonna do this. I got this.
Yeah. You know what's so beautiful though, in all of the things that you've mentioned, like now we can see like there was so much grace. Now we can see that there was his love that was keeping you through all of these situations. Like, you know, all of these people that wanted to fight you, they could have been took you out. Like God could have literally been took you off the chessboard, and yet there was still purpose for you, even in your anger and even in your hurt. And that's something that I pray that the audience receives. That even in our trauma, God still has purpose for us. The very fact that there is still going through our veins, that literally showing that proof of life means there's proof of purpose. And so just hearing you say all of these things, whether you know, you knew God intimately or not, he knew you and he loves you and he kept you. And like, it just inspires me because I think about like, we might have two different stories, and yet I see the same God in both of our stories. Because something you said that really spoke to me is, I knew of God, I knew my man's existed. And it's even one point where I said out of my mouth, I don't believe in God. This is when I was younger. I was like, I don't believe in God. Yeah, nah. I had some dreams, and I woke up and I was like, yeah, I believe God. He real. He for real. He real. But I still didn't know him on scripture. I didn't know him as my father. I didn't know him as my friend. I didn't know him as my provider. I only knew him as a word. You know, it's like with you and me. If we wrote each other on threads, and I never had a conversation with you. I know of him. I've seen his videos, but I really don't know dude. But
Mm-hmm.
once we started having conversation, now I can start saying, "Oh yeah, no, I know Leland. I know his background. I know his family a little bit. I don't know none of this, but
Mm-hmm.
just the more that we get to know each other, it's like, okay, no, I know him, and that's how I felt with my walk with God. Like it was so much that I didn't understand about myself up until I got a relationship with him. It's so funny
Mm-hmm.
that we're having this conversation because I love how you said I was angry this whole time, and it was as if you were trying to prove something to the world.
Yep.
And I felt that for myself because recently I had to go and make amends with an old friend, and I had to tell the truth, like, yo, I didn't even know I was broken. I thought I was good. You feel me? I thought I was like, I thought my heart was pure. I thought my heart was good. Whole time I was broken. Whole time I was
Mm-hmm.
being a victim. Whole time I was making everybody my enemy. And it was so much that God showed me, like that I was, because of the trauma that I experienced, I was reflecting my trauma instead of reflecting his light. But I thought
Yeah.
that I was reflecting it, but I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
at all. And so I want to know from just your story. I want to know, what was that salvation moment where you went from I know you to I know you. Like now I really want to get to know you.
Man, listen, hey, buckle up, audience. This is where we get into, because because it. So I told you my first marriage. I was 19 with my son's mom. We spent almost 10 years, in
Yeah.
that. And then I had a second marriage. We dated for quite some time. I moved here. I'm under no
Yeah.
long distance. I'm moving to Dallas. Me and my son. I packed up my Camaro and drove from Ohio to here. Like, that was in 2019. And her and I were to get married in 2021.
Yeah.
Um, we were supposed to, and I was like, I noticed some things, and I was like, well, we're gonna take a step back, and that caused an issue there. But nevertheless, spun the block and actually got married in 2022.
Mm.
It shouldn't have happened. Let me
Yeah.
say that first. That marriage should have never happened. Too many
Yeah.
signs. And I'm tell you why it shouldn't happen, especially for my men. This is why I coach men, and I want the women to be lifted and exalted when I say
Yeah.
this. And the men need to be exalted more and hear this. And the fathers that have young children need to hear this as well too. When we know in the word when it says that the child will bear the responsibilities of his father, that's Bible. That's law.
Mm-hmm.
I love my father. My father had his ways. My father, who as some people would call it the Rolling Stone, right?
Right.
So, and you add that with the fact that music teaches young black people and black men to be lustful. When we
Right.
spend our time around, idolizing the body of a woman and the opportunity to try to practice procreation, for lack
Yes.
of better, like you said,
Yes.
right? So, my relationships, especially even in high school, but
Yeah.
as I became an adult, my relationships, especially my second marriage, was crowded and clouded with, I want to do this, I want to do this marriage right. Her and I connected, but our connection was even lustful. She connected with me and I connected with her, but she connected with me in the sense of from bodybuilding. So she had this lust after me too as well too. And I played into it,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm like, yeah, I'm him. Like I'm gotten this size. I graduated high school. Listen here, folks. I graduated high school with 138 pounds, right?
You
If
was
you go to my
him.
IG, you got to scroll quite a bit, but you'll see I end up at one point amassing 230.
Wow.
230 at about 12% body fat at that. So I'm like solid. So
Wow.
like my ex-wife, her and I, our connection was in fitness to a degree, but even her lust got me, because that's why I'm like, cool, like, of course I'm turning next. I can get where I want, right? So our relationship also was founded with a lot of like lustful desires, not just for one another, but in total. And I hadn't
That's good.
learned yet that my father's footsteps, I was
Yeah.
still walking into them,
That's so good.
even in a
Wow.
relationship.
That's
And
good.
like, so the whole meme that goes around that says, hey dad, no, the dad says, hey son, watch your steps. The son turns and says, no dad, watch your steps, because where you step is where I step. I have a young
That's
15-year-old
good.
son in there, right? So I have to remind him that. So even in those tendencies, I'm like, dang, because he's been with me since
Yeah.
he was 8. It's been me and him, right? So now I'm in another marriage that shouldn't have happened because there was already too many signs there. We had, had it out and whatnot. But we went forth. That marriage should have never happened. Should have never happened. Prior to that marriage itself in 2021, after her and I split, I was facing a 20-year sentence because I was leaving her place that I wasn't going to go. We wasn't even like cool and weren't even dating. But I went down and hung out with her on 4th of July 2021. I'm driving back home from her place. I'm about to go chill. I'm getting ready for another show in a few weeks away. So I'm about to go stay in the house the 4th of July weekend. I'm going to stay in the house. I got a show coming up in Mexico. I'm going to be chill. I'm driving home. This car comes out in front of me. You know, he turned on red, and he shouldn't have because I was already ongoing. And he almost hit me, so I swerved out of the way. I get over. He gets over to cut me off again for no reason at all. You know, and the weather's nice, you know. And so I get back over again. So we ride down. So I'm like, hey, man, I'm trying to talk to him. I'm like, hey, you almost hit me back there. I say, nobody. So you almost hit me. I said, ain't nobody trying to die in traffic. Like, you playing around. So I said, hey, nobody trying to die in traffic. You hit me. So I'm just trying to let him know, like, hey, you know, and I'm chill, too. And his girlfriend's in the passenger seat. And then he eventually hears me and he sits up. He says, F you, N-word, I'll kill you. Like, I'm not saying it because I don't say the word anymore. I stopped. So, like, He said, I'll kill you. So I went from just trying to be cool. So I said, you're going to do what? So then I grabbed my handgun. I put it on my window. I said, you're going to kill who? So we both doing a double left turn at this point now. Because after that, his girlfriend was like, oh, my goodness, right? We're sorry. So we both do a left turn. But he let me turn before him. I was like, he about to get behind me. Sure enough, he gets behind me. My complex right down the way. I turn my left against my complex. I tell you, when I get out my car, I go to my trunk to get my, I think I had my coach bag. I get out my trunk. I get out my car, go to my trunk. I got 3 guns pointed at me for police officers at my head.
Wow. Wait.
He called it in that quick, said I threatened to kill them. They were fearing for their lives. They were in tears. Oh, man, black guy. So, and they described me. Now I'm sitting in a coupe in a Camaro, so you can't see me at all. I got 5% 10. I brought the window down some. The cops said, description was a buff black guy with a Glock. I said, how you know I got a Glock? So they hear a Glock, they black guy, they come in guns.
They're on their way.
So it was, I'm in my trunk, it's a gun. Here, you can't see me. But I got, anyway, 2 guns to this way and then 1 to the side of me.
Wow.
Like, and I was like, I already know why y'all here. And so I'm talking to them. They cuffed me because they had to. This is a handgun. I'm talking to them and whatnot, you know, explaining to them what happened. They said, they said they were in tears, that you're going to kill them. I said, whoa, that's crazy. I said, I didn't say that at all. I said, he threatened to kill me, though. Right. I said, but I did have my handgun at that point because now he threatened to threaten my life. I know my law. Yeah. So I was like, officer, I said, I'm a trained combat veteran. I said, I'm trained. Like I fired rounds downrange. So I was like, I'm a trained combat veteran. I said, if I wanted to kill him, I would have. I flat out told him, I said, if I wanted to kill him, I would have. I said, it's not even loaded. I said, I said it's loaded now because by law, when I'm transporting, I have to have it loaded. You know that, right? Yeah. So yes, I said, but it wasn't even loaded. So then guess what? This is where God and this, you know, this is my Joseph walk, right?
Yeah, come on, Joseph.
This is my Joseph walk, right? Because not only am I honest with them, because I ain't got to lie to you. People are like, don't lie, don't talk to police. Man, listen. At this point, I'm like, listen, if I'm going down, I'm going down. Like, but I'm gonna be honest. I ain't gonna lie and make it worse, right? No matter what. And my son was on vacation at the time with his mom. And I'm like, whoa, I'm going to jail, right? So, and I'm going to jail coming from a place I shouldn't have been at in the first place. I shouldn't even went to go visit her. That's the crazy part. So this is the link of all of that. So I tell the police officers all of that stuff. And one guy talking to me back and forth, he did quite a bit of detail. They arrest me, you know, I said, wait, y'all gonna arrest me? Can I call? So at the time we weren't dating, but I was let me call my fiance. That's what I told them. Let me call her to let her know because she's supposed to be coming over. Let me let her know, hey, I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna get jail. Right. Yeah. So they let me call her. Let her know. And they booked me. And they was like, well, you want us, because they put me in a room up front for right there by the desk, and the magistrate and all, when they come in, you want to stay up front and go to the back? I said, no, I'm gonna stay right here. I just decided to stay right there, right? Man, the magistrate comes in the following morning. She don't know that I'm right there. She said, and there's 3 gun cases that they got. One guy's got in there. He's on the 3rd strike, but apparently I'm the one facing 20 years. The cop done lied in the police report. He said that I was stressed out from combat, which is why I did that. I said, I ain't been to combat at this point in 10 years later.
What is happening here?
So I'm like, whoa, not only did he lie, then the magistrate was like, why does he's a combat veteran? Why does he have a firearm? I'm like, I should be the one with the firearm. So now I'm hearing all this, right? I'm like, wow. So I had to bail myself out of jail. I had to empty my entire savings to bail myself. They gave me I think like $60,000 bill. I wiped out my entire account to bail myself out.
Wow.
Right. So I bailed myself out. I got my lawyer. He and I talked. My lawyer and was a former judge too. So when I told him the road I was on in the city, he was like, I know that law. He said, I know the area. He said, we're not gonna let 12 idiots decide your fate. I need you to do, he said, get all your statements. He said, get you 5 character witnesses, and all of this and that, do the fire safety course for the firearms, did all that. So I'm fighting the courts at this point, fighting for a whole year because they trying 20 years. They're like, we're not budging. 20 years for they said aggravated assault with attempt to murder. I'm like, what?
That's far-fetched. God wasn't even out the truck.
But even that, it's my word versus their word. Two white folks versus me in a suburban area in Dallas, Texas, so Frisco. So going throughout a whole year, right? So then they finally reduced it. I ended up accepting the charges at one point because they reduced them to a Class C misdemeanor, and the verbiage is why I accepted. They said displaying the firearm with intent to cause alarm. I said, you absolutely right. I was causing alarm at that point. Yeah. So I had to serve, that sentence. So crazy enough, what happened? So we talking about this. How did I go and surrender to God? So he set me down there, right? Got out of the 20 years, served 1 year. My firearm got confiscated. The following year, her and I spun the block. We got married. We eloped. That marriage itself.
Was this the first wife or the second wife?
The second one.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so like that 2021 issue, I was leaving her place. That's when this all happened.
Gotcha.
In 2022, we ended up connecting back together. That shouldn't have happened, but nonetheless, it did. So then, how did I get close? How did I start? This all led to me eventually. Like, let me come home to you, God. Right. So my firearm got confiscated then. Right. So when I finally got it back, her and I were married at this point in time. Now, when I finally got it back, they gave it back to me in 2023. 2 years to have my firearm.
Yeah.
Right. I had just got my fire. So her and I were married in 2022, June. Every month of that marriage, I was threatened with divorce. And I was like, don't play my face. You're going to be divorced. You're going to leave. Right. I had to, I'm not going to get to the story of that marriage because it was hell. It was chaotic. Yeah. But the crux of it, why? December 3rd, 2023, at that point, I was exhausted. Things were going on, she done crazy. So, threatened my son and all. I'm like, whoa, right? So she asked for all these divorces, threatened and whatnot. So at one point I was like, I want a divorce. She spazzed out, just jumped out in the middle of traffic one day, and like one granted. So then one day, I just bought her another car because she needed one. So I got me one. I ended up driving the other car to work that day, that Saturday. Yeah. I look outside with a client. I see her pull up in my other car, swapping the car out, and had the nerve to say I left her stranded. I said, well, how do you stranded if you got the other car? Right? She just wanted her car. Right? So I'm like, dang, it's crazy. So I hit home that day. I'm watching the SEC championship game. It was Alabama and somebody. I remember this because listen, this was another sit down, Joseph.
So many sit downs.
Listen. I go up my home. I'm watching that game. My son upstairs. She finally come home, still yapping and hollering. I'm like, so in my mind, I was like, let me go ahead and just grab my primary card keys and take both sets and put them on one key and put hers on the other. So I go and grab it. Right. So as I'm getting up to go grab it, she thinks I'm taking the keys from the hook from her. I said, I'm just grabbing. So she goes to lunge for my keys on the couch, my keys. So I grab my keys. She grabs my hand. I was like, let me go. I'm just trying to get the keys and swap them out. So she told my hand. So we finally just stand up with our hands on one another. And I'm like, look, let me go. Again, she's all like 4'11", and great, nothing negative about it. Let me be clear. It just shouldn't have happened. Great person. I was attracted to her obviously for obvious reasons. Good heart, good mother, which is very important to me. The marriage just shouldn't have happened. Too many signs shouldn't happen. Yeah. Right. So at this point, the marriage is at a volcano. It's about to erupt. So we standing up. She's standing not letting go. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Let me go. So I'm calling the police. I said, please do, because this is crazy. So they come. Right. Nothing happened. She tells the cops I tackled her.
What is going on with all these cop stories?
Now, this was crazy, right? Because I'm watching that football game. I just got my firearm back that Friday. So I'm cleaning my handgun that I just got back. I'm cleaning my handgun, cleaning the magazines. I'm watching football. That's my thing, right? So I tell the police officer, I say, I got a magazine in my pocket because I took my firearm back from a case. And he was like, okay, no problem. So he takes it out and make sure, I let him know right away, right? Well, they said, you got a cut on your hand. I said, that's probably from her ring. I said, but nothing happened. Well, we got to go see what she wants. I said, let me tell her right now, officer. I said, if you take me away, my son is upstairs. They don't get along. We can just go amicably. I'll go to a hotel tonight and we can just solve this amicably tomorrow. But if you take me away, my son's there by himself. His mother lives in Georgia. You know, one of my friends at the time, we were at an odds. So he and I want to get turned. I said, he's too far away. But if you take me away, my son, it's not going to be good, right? They don't get along. Something just happened in the home, et cetera, right? He said, well, we got to see what she says. It's a white cop. You know, we got to see what she says. So then they go to her and she says, well, she said she want to press charge, get you tackled her. I said, officer, I didn't. He said, but we got to take you in because that's her word. I said, you know how this is going to turn out. I said, my son is going to be in a bad spot. Kid you not. It was chaos. So I go, I get locked up, easy charge because it wasn't, I forgot what the charge was. I, paid to get out. So I call an Uber because I had to call my mom. Said, my mom, hey, here's what's going on. I call my mom, hey, I said, mom, call Jay. Me and Jay was at us. I said, call Jay, tell Jay what's going on. Tell him to go get my son and go get my bag. I had put my handgun away because I, didn't know what's going on. So she tells my mom and tells Jay, can't nobody come get him except for his mom who's in Georgia or his dad who's in jail. Right? So chaos. I get out of jail the following day. I call for an Uber. Lo and behold, I'm going out to the Uber. She pulls up in my other car with my son in the front with the car loaded with some of my stuff in the backseat and in the trunk. I'm like, I wasn't even expecting you. So somebody followed her so she can drop it off. I'm like, she must have been knowing that I was getting out, watching, right? So I asked my son, I say, son, where's my bag at? He said, I don't know, Dad. He didn't know. I'm like, oh, he's all this stuff in my car. So I go back to the house. I'm searching for my bag. It's my bag. That's where I just put my file. And I'm like, I know her. She will take it. She took it. So I'm looking for her. She finally comes back. The friend brought her back to get the same car that she so loved. She'd have hit me with the car. So then I called the police. They arrested her, right?
Bruh,
so, yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm only saying this so people don't understand, what does it got to do with God? I'm telling you, these details of it because, again, I don't got no ill will, her and I don't. My heart is pure. God has cleansed me, and I've forgiven myself and her. That was a big obstacle I had to come up with, right? But that all happened. And once I finally had to get out of the place where it's at, because they was like, you got to, the leasing officer, you got to get out of it because you're not legally on the lease, even though I'm married. I'm like, whatever, I'll get out of here immediately. So got out of there because she locked me out of the house. So while I was arrested overnight, she done put cameras in the home to try to spy and see how I was doing to come back. It was crazy. So I get out of there, and that was December 2023. I went and visited my mom for Christmas. And then me and my son, New Year's Eve, I went to bed. At 9 p.m., me and my son sat there. We're going to do our vision board. We both did a vision board together, virtually, and I wrote one down. And at the center of that vision board was prayer hands. I said, our faith is going to be the center of our life. And everything else we wanted. I put the prayer hands there. I put a home, opening the gym, and a few other things there at the center of that board. And he and I, and my therapist at the time, my spiritual father, he'd been with me since 2021. And he was, he was like, that's ultimate betrayal. He was just there for me. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to find community. Yeah. And he kept telling me about one community church, and I just needed a place for men. Yeah. And I saw they had this thing called Man Church. Yeah. It's just men's Bible study, but it's called Man Church. For me, that sounds cool. I still got that anger in me anyway. It's Man Church. That means it's the bros, right? I'm gonna go to church though, but I'm gonna do virtually. I'm gonna do virtual church. But I'll go in person for Man Church. But the whole big Sunday service, I'm good. I'm gonna do virtual. I don't trust y'all. I don't know y'all.
That's so interesting.
Me and God, we ain't even locked in yet. But I will go for Man Church, right? Because it's bros. So we're going. But throughout this process, I'm going to Man Church. I'm showing up. I'm observing. I'm listening. And then as I'm listening, then I start giving my story a little bit. And then one day, my son's 9 months into it, 10 months into the year. Pastor kept hitting, come on, you guys coming to church and ain't fully covered, not members, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And my son was like, wait, Dad, when we gonna go in person for church? I was like, well, now I can't tell because he done came with me to Man Church. Yeah. So now my son at the time, who was at 2023, he was 13, 12, whatever he was, I think 12. And he was now he done prompted me with the question, we're gonna go to church, Dad, in person. I was like, well, I guess I gotta go. So Pastor done said it, my son done said it, I gotta go to church, right? So just prior to that, my group leader was like, hey, LeLand, I'm gonna be out. Can you lead the group for me? I'm like, I've done mentorship already. I've taught in school, but you want me to lead men of God? You want me to lead people in the church? Right. And they know my walk, right? But Polly's his name. He was like, I'm gonna be out. I got something to do out of town with my daughter and whatnot. Can you lead the group? So I just had to lead the group, do attendance, and ask the questions from the prompt and just kind of make sure I'm trying to feed them the word. I'm still eating myself. I'm trying to feed them the word, right? So crazy. So but my prayers that year was just, God, whatever you need me to do, wherever you need me to be, whoever you need me to be in front of, was very simplistic but very clear. That was my prayer. That was my prayer over and over. And I was going through prep for my last year competing. That was 2024 going into that year. And this is my last show. I'm taking 2024 off. I'm competing 2025. So I'm just raising my son, working on getting closer to God, and gonna do my last bodybuilding show and just training my clients and focusing on me. And then me and my now ex, we somehow should never even I tried to fix it again. Let's try to fix this. I'm in church and this and that, and but I led the small group as he said, and then he was like, I'm making my co-lead. I was like, wow. He was like, so then I'm my coach. So I was like, oh man. So then I did a spiritual gifts assessment, what our church has, and that said everything I knew about my life already. The spiritual assessment had already had confirmed it inside of the church that you need to be a leader, pastoral, ministry, teaching, leading. I'd already been doing this, but the assessment itself from spiritual gifts was like, this is what you need to be doing too for the church. So he made me a co-lead, and then I got baptized the end of the year, December 2024. And after I got baptized, God was like, okay, let's go. Now I got baptized, and then he was like, you need to be an actual group leader of your own group. So now I'm a group leader, and I'm a group leader now. So that was then. So when I say this, I surrendered because God had sat me down in 21, set me down again, no matter who and how it happened. Set me down in 23. Both charges didn't stick because it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing, right? The felony at 13. All the things that you can imagine as a 13, 14, 15 adolescents in Cincinnati, all the things you can imagine, all those things. And the entire time, I didn't know, but he was still with me. So that was the pivot. And after that, after her having me in jail and me getting out of there and me being able to walk away, I went to divorce recovery group, sitting there with guys twice my age. I'm listening to their story. They don't have a clue of their life. I do. And I'm like, whoa, you got me just sitting here with people that double my age, and I'm able to give them wisdom and gems. Yeah. But I'm also talking to myself. And I'm in a recovery group. Like, I'm actually trying to make a change in my life because my son I'm like, I got to make this right for him and for myself. And once I just let go, I got baptized, leadership, boom. Now people around the church know me, and they listen. I can go back to her last night, but what I'm saying, folks, is that to answer her question in short, if there's air in your lungs and you can still wake up and see, and you can still move your limbs and your heart still beats, God has not forgotten about you. Yes. Because if you've just heard what I said, there's many people that have heard me talk about the things I put up with in my marriage, especially my recent one. My brother was like, yo, you're a better man than me. Put up with stuff. Yeah. Because I was living marriage where I saw my mother, like, trying to love out of people. Yeah. My dad too, trying to love out of people. We're talking about like domestic violence, like, it wasn't nothing crazy, but when it became, it was like, oh, and I'm trying to let me just try harder. And here's what I knew was right. 2024. I tried to circle the block. I filed for divorce and let it expire twice. And I was like, let's try to work this out. We in therapy we in therapy with a therapist and with therapy with the church mentors and all, still wasn't working. And then, I was still being held responsible for landing myself in jail. How's that my fault? No apologizing, for me to receive. And, no matter what I did, taking care of two separate homes, because now we still separated. Kids involved and all, and I'm still, it's your fault or this or that. You don't do nothing. I'm like, but I'm in church now, so now I'm learning how to just not respond and try to use the tools. I've been in therapy since 2021.
Quick to hear and slow to speak.
Listen, I'm trying, and what I realize, people, is that you can have all the right lessons and tools, but if the recipient that you're trying to deliver those tools to and with aren't there, it ain't gonna matter.
That's good. That's
right?
So good.
And I kept trying that marriage. And what I kept realizing, God was like, you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
And I know it's marriage. And this is what I need my Christian brothers and sisters to realize. Don't do divorce. And remember, not every marriage is ordained by God.
That's good.
Because I've had two of them. And neither one of those did y'all hear me talk about God at the center of those. I'm getting married in 16 days. Okay, I'm getting married 16 days. My wife is God's gift to me because I prayed for her and I said, God,
Yes.
give me a daughter who's got a heart after like David, like she did
Yeah.
and me as well. And when I did, when I say it moved, it moved. Her and I met Valentine's Day. We get married May 9th.
Oh wow.
So
Congratulations, by the way.
I thank you. So I say that to say, if you heard me and you heard that last part, once you finally fully submit and
Yeah.
actually repent, don't get confronted with the word. Repent when you hear the word. Watch how he moves for you.
Yeah.
But you got to be willing. And you have to be willing. And this is why I shifted to only coaching men because I've coached women all my life as well as men
Uh-huh.
too.
Uh-huh.
But God was like, I need you to coach my men. I need you to talk to them. If you were ever wondering what the heck is Iron 252, that's Proverbs 27:17 and Luke 2:52. That's what it is. That's what I'm doing, sharpening men so they can be forged, so they can go through the matriculation like Jesus did in Luke 2:52. He went from wisdom to stature to favor with God and then influence with man. That's my responsibility to these men because I've already walked that walk.
Yeah.
I went from being just a fire leader, to I'm a forged leader. That's
Ooh.
4 levels.
Hold
Like,
on. Say that again. Let's go back.
yeah,
You can't say some heat like that and now rewind. Say it one more time.
yeah. I
From
went from
fire to forge.
fire to forge, and that's the path I need all men to take.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I had so many questions written down. And what I love is you started just answering them. I'm like, oh, he done took this question out. Because one of the questions that I was like burning on fire to ask was, just the start of Iron 252. I wanted to know, like, what started that. And I feel like, as you told your story, it was like I was able to, like, see what was actually leading to that. One question that I did have for
Mhm.
you was, so understanding your past, like, all the things that happened in the past, a lot of people would say like, or a lot of people would think that we're unqualified for what God has us to do, right? And so when they had said, I want you to be my co-leader in running this men's group, I want to know, like, what was the feeling that you had when they wanted to give you this newfound responsibility, even though you have been doing it, in a sense, in the world's way, now having to move over to doing it for God. Like, what was that feeling that you had,
Oh
going
yeah,
into that?
great question. Before I answer that question, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. And this is for my men. Men, get you a woman that's on fire for God's heart, like David was, and like you should be. Here's why.
Yeah.
Iron 252. My business has transformed many names. It was Incredible Fitness at first with the K because I love tattoos and art. Went from Incredible Fitness for a very long time to next level health and wellness to next level performance. And then when I met my now wife to be, we had one conversation, well, our first conversation, but our second conversation, I was telling her about, my business and the brand and whatnot. And I knew what she does in terms of her work and her skills, but I told her about it. I kid you not. Kid you not. I woke up to a Sunday morning and say, hey, so I audited your business. I came up with a name because we went over some names. Rebrand.
Wow.
So Iron 252, I'm Iron 252, but the name came from her.
Wow. Come
The name
on.
came from her. She said, because I heard you, and she went audited it. She wanted to make sure that like
Yes.
it wasn't already like trademarked, and
Yes.
she audited all my social media platforms all overnight.
Yes.
I woke up to a
Go
4-tab
ahead,
Google
sis.
document, right?
Yes.
So I say that to say, like, this is because I asked God, because I've always said that my business was never mine, and I told God a while ago, and if I told her this as well too, I said the reason why I'm hitting a threshold and a wall in my business is because it's not for me. I need my queen to help me with the rest
Come
of her.
on. Come
And
on.
right, so but that's that. How did I feel when
Wait, can
probably?
I piggyback off of that before
Yeah, go
we
ahead.
go
Go ahead.
answer my
Yeah.
question? Because something that I appreciate about, like, couples doing the work of the kingdom together. I love how the Bible says, "He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor from the Lord." And I've like interviewed so many men and women that are married and to learn about their story. And
Mhm.
what I often notice, especially in the kingdom, is that literally when God said He'll send you a helpmate, something that I've been informed from the pastors that I listen to, they were
Mhm.
telling me some wisdom is that the man, God has given him vision, and that woman will be able to help him steward well that vision. And I've realized, even in like me, I'm single right now, but
Mm.
even in my relationships with my brothers in Christ, even some of my leaders, I often notice like God will put me, with men, because like where they got vision, some of that other stuff they ain't got, right? The administrative stuff, I notice like oftentimes God will pair me, with my different brothers in Christ. And it's so funny because the skills where I like flourish, I've had so many times where one of my brothers has given me like what they envision, and then God will give me a download, and I'm like, oh, this is this is what you this is what you said. And so I just really love the fact that you said like you gave her, what you were working on, the vision that God gave you, and then the Holy Spirit literally gave her the download of what this brand actually is. And so that's just a beautiful testament of seeing what that favor looks like, what that good thing looks like. Because you are good by yourself, but when he brings you together with your purpose partner, now y'all serving a purpose together. And I just want to take a moment just to acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
that and say shout out to sis, because that's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, women are force multipliers, and fellas, if she's not able to recognize that, then be patient or don't marry her, and that's okay because not every the alignment, if it's not there, it's not there. But
Yeah.
I coach when I used to coach men and women, especially like relationships. I was like, hey, men and women need to know their purpose when they go and actually court, so that way they can say, here's my purpose,
Woo.
and then you can say, okay, well they align or they don't. It's no bad blood. But if you don't go and know it, if you can articulate it, and if she can't take even a droplet and say here, because her job is to multiply. Maybe she's not
Right.
ready. She's not ready yet, and that's okay. And that women need to realize maybe you're not there yet, and that's okay.
That's so
So
good.
it's okay, but that's a learned thing. So yeah, but your question was great. Like you asked me how did I feel because it's about being unqualified. Myron Golden
Yeah.
said yesterday, I was listening to him. Myron Golden said, "What unqualifies me is actually what qualifies me in the Lord."
That's good. Go ahead.
Right.
Keep going.
So I'm not 6 feet tall. NFL wasn't gonna happen. I've been there, so I actually did make it to the practice team in the NFL on my own different path. So that dream did happen. That
Oh
4-year-old dream
wow.
did happen. It was briefly lived, but it did happen. But I'm not 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I always jokingly tell people I'm not 6 feet tall because God don't do perfection. Because if I was, listen, the world would never be able to handle me. Can't
I
be.
feel that.
They couldn't.
That's
I
why I
have
can't
the.
sing, because they wouldn't have been able to handle me.
They can handle me, right? So I say that because what I felt maybe was unqualifying me, I shut up. Remember, I said I hated the world.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk no more. I'm not going to talk no more. I had a lot of, I'm a smart, I was smart. Bounced back from the
Right.
2.7 and dang on 4.0
Right.
almost. Like,
Yeah.
not that I'm not capable. I was limited by things that happened.
Right.
But what I felt, what the judge tried to unqualify me, let me delinquent and pretty much silence me, she silenced my voice and raised my anger.
Yeah.
But
That's
God was
good.
like, you still going to absorb all the knowledge because that's just who you are.
Right.
People are still gonna come to you because they gravitate to it. People always come to me, hey, I got this problem, I got that problem. My mom too. My mom be coming to me for like and we said about, hey, I got this going on, and we just go back and forth. I give her some gems. So when Polly asked me to be his co-lead, like officially, they also heard my story. I would talk about how I come to Christ now, already being agnostic, already seeing what unbelievers are seeing, even how people and I don't want to touch nobody. I'm gonna come down somebody's street real quick. How Christians improperly evangelize and ain't coming prepared to combat somebody like myself. I was wearing my ox, and somebody was like, "Hey, what are you wearing on your chest?" With a whole card with a cross in their hand and trying to like evangelize me without connecting with me first. So I've done been. I was prepared. I'm already can fight the word. I've done it, but I also learned I was always able to even read some of the Bible when I was away from God and able to apply it practically to my life and those around me.
Yeah.
So when he wanted me to be his co-lead, they'd already heard how I was able to kind of like, touch on stories or really have men in the circle and like, yo, I ain't even think about that, right? So it was easy for him. I'm sure it was easy for him.
Yeah.
And in each day of me being a leader now, but that feeling, you said, what did that feeling feel like?
Yeah.
I actually, and it was 2 parts. I was like, oh, like, yeah, y'all about to get this work because y'all don't know. Because I'm like, in my mind, and I gotta, you gotta be, with grace and God, he continues to work on you. But my mind at that time was like, I'm about to really break y'all down and break the Bible down. I'm gonna not break it down. I'm gonna break y'all thought process because I'm a disruptor. That's who I am a natural disruptor. Like God has always put me in places to be for a moment of time, and then I'm out.
Yeah.
Go fix this system with your disruption and then leave, right?
That's good. Yeah.
So actually be a co-lead of men of God who come in there broken and trying to learn, oh, I'm the perfect person because I already don't walk some paths that they would never be able to walk.
Yeah.
So now I got that side and I'm in faith. They get to see me as, oh, this dude used to do this and now he's here. So now it was so I felt nervous because it's like, oh man. But at the same time, I felt like, okay, we're gonna get these reps in now because now
that's good.
Right. So it was two feelings. But I had to stop running because at that point I'd already had visited some monks before. They did some chakra reading and they was like, these are the, I was special for some reason. I had two colors. I was like, what does it even mean? My colors were flashing and I go to my therapist. I was like, I guess they flashing because I haven't fully walked into accepted it. And that's really what it was. Because one of the callings is that you will be essentially in their words, it was going to be a leader, a mentor over so-and-so. But my lights were flashing. And when I would put it together, I said, okay, well, I'm not stupid. So since those people in the room were solid and they had one, I had two because I'm special. God chose me for that reason. But mine were flashing. I said they flashed because I haven't fully accepted those roles. I hadn't fully accepted that people actually come to me for advice because I'm able to deliver. I'm able to eloquently talk about what it is and make it make sense for them. Right. And that's what God has called me to do. And that's why now in my leadership, and I have the assessment that I have for Iron 252, it all culminates my ability to say, hey, sir, you're a fire leader and you don't even realize it. You don't have no kind of, it's all these things, right? But I'm able to do it because I can talk it. I don't level with anybody. I don't need a level. I've been there.
Right.
So when I'm talking to you, I'm not trying to level with you. I don't care if you take it or not. God already told me and showed me. He done walked me. I done been dragged through the mud. I done ran away like Moses did when Moses killed those. Listen, I done ran away. So there's nothing that you can tell me about what I'm telling you when you ask me for advice. There's nothing that you can say about me in terms of, well, you're just trying to. No, I'm not. I have an example. And if it's not my own, I've sat in rooms and people have gave it to me and I've had to internalize and then deliver upon it because that's my skill.
Yeah.
So when he asked me to do that, I was like, so now as a leader inside of the church, in our men's ministry, I told you before we got on this call, I turned that young man from I'll get baptized when I wanted to, hey, can I get baptized? How can I get baptized? All within 30 minutes.
Yes. That was such a quick turnaround from I'm going to get baptized when I'm ready to, you know what? How can I get baptized? What's the steps? Oh, I didn't already completed the membership step. That's funny.
Yeah.
So something else that I'm interested in. So as the podcast name, it was the fruit of discipline. And the reason I believe the Holy Spirit led me to choose that for you specifically is because I know that something we talked about in the first conversation was, we live by a lot of things according to the Bible, but there are also some things that we struggle with within the church that I don't think we often recognize or speak on. And I feel like when we talk about the fruit of the Spirit, often that self-control and discipline, it might be talked about, but it's not always lived by. And so that was something I wanted to know from you personally. Like, what do you see is a area of improvement, I guess, when it comes to living out discipline, especially as a Christian?
Ooh. Listen.
Cut it to us.
There's only one way to serve it. And listen, I tell folks, listen, I like my cake. I don't need no icing. So just give me the cake, right? So I'm going to give y'all the cake. Discipline in the church, discipline in faith. Here's where it's lacked at. And here's why discipline is lacking, because it's lacking. The first place is lacking because guess what? Christians don't like the worst sin that Christians partake in. Glutton.
Yep.
That's the easiest sin that most Christians will overlook.
Yeah.
Overlook. What am I feeding myself? Am I literal glutton in terms of food, or the glutton of laziness in terms of not feeding yourself things that actually mean something?
Yes.
Why are you not having a solid food relationship with the word?
That's good.
Why are you not eating the right foods for your body? This temple is rented. So let me ask you a question, people of God. If God turned his back on sin, not his son. Let's remember that. People say he turned his back on sin. Jesus then came and died for all of your sins, all of them. So the least that you can do is have favor and forgiveness on replay for Jesus and take care of your temple.
That's good.
So when I see the church, people get upset at me, especially I talk at men, especially now. But when I see the church and I see a pastor who ain't got no health and fitness routine,
Yeah,
how am I gonna take your word seriously?
that's real.
Medical anomalies aside, how am I gonna take it seriously? Where's your discipline? Your first line of discipline is yourself as a faith leader.
That's good.
That's the first line. And that's a subject that you don't want to talk about in the church. Why not? Why not? Why not? Jesus grew in stature.
Yeah.
What does stature means? That means he physically built himself up.
That's good.
He physically built himself up. He grew in wisdom first, then stature, then favor with his father, and then influence in man. If he had not grown in stature, so wisdom, understandably, people, that wisdom is it's a never ending process. And wisdom is only, let me pause here and give you guys a quick lesson. Write this down. Literally write this down. There's 4 steps of wisdom. Okay? 4 steps. The first one is ignorance. We're all born ignorant. We don't know we have a left and a right arm, a left and a right ear, up or down. We're ignorant. We don't know these things, right? Okay? The next step of wisdom, and I learned this from Myron Golden, and when I learned and then I made it, applied it to fitness, it was amazing. The second step of wisdom is then accumulation of knowledge. Now I got a left and right arm. Great. I know that. Now I know left and right. Now we're just accumulating knowledge. Accumulating knowledge, right? Next step of wisdom is assimilation, putting it together. So how do we start with step 4? This is where we get people that don't understand that, hey, you know God or you know of God. So when you just have knowledge of God, you only at step 2 of wisdom, which means you just know of God. Step 3 is assimilation, is now putting it together. Mm-hmm. Okay. Step 4 is wisdom itself, which is applying knowledge. But even in it says in the word, wisdom and leadership is to be displayed, not declared.
Woo.
Right?
Woo. I'm gonna have to rewind that part. Displayed, not declared. That's good.
So when we are talking about what I see in terms of discipline in the church, I see a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Because you can't skip over the stature part and be like Jesus, but you're not taking care of your stature, your rented temple.
That's good.
Your flesh skins that you don't even own, but you want the people in the congregation to believe you. I'm for one not. Yeah. And I ain't talking about being a size 0 or a size 30 waist for men. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if I can't physically see that you have a routine, I don't care if you go take up running, walking, mall walking, that you practice monitoring what you put in, because food noise is why Christians still suffer in sin and agony and weariness and worrying, because there's so much food noise. Right. And God said, I'm not going to turn down my volume. You turn yours down. So food noise as a coach. When you eat food, your stress goes up. When you eat food, your brain is clouded. So then you eat food and you watch Netflix. And now you got Netflix crowding you, you got TV crowding you, got politics crowding you. I can't hear you, God. He's like, I know you can't hear me, but turn it down. I'm not turning this down. Okay, well, you don't want to hear me. Okay, cool. I'm not turning my volume up, though. So the discipline that we see lacked in church is actually living out what they preach. So when we say practice what you preach, well, are you preaching? Are you really practicing? Are you? Yeah, so as somebody who comes from the side of already being on the, you can't call me an unbeliever. I was agnostic. I knew, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not an atheist. That never happened. But I also saw and knew, like, y'all inside of the church, y'all gonna get mad and I love it. It's okay. Guess what?
You're disruptive.
If you're a Christian and you have to tell somebody that you're apocalyptic or Baptist or you name it, you're no different than people who identify by zodiac signs. Because if I'm an unbeliever and that's how you act as a Christian, I want a part of that.
Right. Yeah.
If you blame your actions because you're a Baptist and they're not, but y'all supposed to worship the same God, why am I gonna get baptized then? I'm good, right?
Yeah.
So your discipline, your responsibility as all Christians is to, one, be discipled.
You're right.
And then lead people back to Christ.
Right.
You can't lead somebody to Christ if you're still incomplete in your own walk. And the first step of your walk is, wisdom. And wisdom says, I need to first develop my stature.
Yeah.
And if you're not developing your stature, you are going to, and I used to, before I came, to God, I had 4 pillars of my business and wellness. And I've always said, the first level of wellness is physical fitness. And the last level is financial. The two in between, there's mental and spiritual. Now, you can have some spiritual wellness. It could be solid. It could be good. You can have financial wealth and it could be good. But what I've known, and I love using Hollywood and politicians as an example, is that the folks in Hollywood that have scandals, they don't have a routine of fitness. Those that, now I'm not saying all, because I've seen some people that we know people that's in shape, they be having all this. What I'm saying is, if you look at those that are good and good people, that have good money, have good wealth, and do good things, they take care of their temple.
Yeah.
So then they're mentally strong. So when you're mentally strong, you make good decisions, which then means you're spiritually strong, which means you're financially even stronger. It's the same thing in Christ. But most folks aren't strong in stature in terms of just let me be routine. Let me eat good food. And that's my, I don't want to call it issue with the body of Christ, but that's my focus. I penetrate through stature, but I develop all four pillars, and it's all in Luke 2:52. This is Bible. You can get mad at me, but it's Bible,
out.
Right?
This is so good. Okay, so let's go deeper into that. Number one, I love how you broke that down. I actually wrote it in the chat so I can remember it, because one of the key things that you said is wisdom is applying that knowledge. First, in our tears, we gotta get the knowledge. We gotta get it. But it's so funny because I was praying last Sunday, and I was like, as I was praying, I was just talking out loud to God. And I was like, something I noticed, within myself and within people is that I was thinking about the scripture where it says faith without works is dead. And I was thinking about how we have the knowledge, and you can know all these different things. Like, for instance, for years, I had all of these health books, but I never opened them, right? I had access to knowledge, but I never used the wisdom to actually open the book and apply what I was learning. And so recently, I really felt the Holy Spirit, like, really not playing with me on the discipline. And so I started opening the books. I was like, okay, now I done opened the books, but it's nothing if I gain the knowledge but never apply it. And so I love that you pointed that out. And something else that I wanted to ask you is, so if we put it into everyday terms, because I know you're a coach, so I feel like you can help us out with this. If we put this in everyday terms, what is simplistic ways that we can show up and be disciplined just in the everyday?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the first things first, we need to get up and actually pray. And your prayer isn't a routine. Thank you, God, for waking me up. No, like that's lazy. Guess what? So if you nibble on the fruit, you're gonna have fruit that's nibbled on. Right? So if you only nibbling on the word, you producing very fragile, shaky fruit. Go to the store, got those grapes, got the little bag grapes in there. They already have been poked around in. That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
So that's reproducing.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to actually get up and pray. And by that, you need to not just grab a Devo. If you get a Devo, you got a couple of scriptures, go read the whole passage. You need context. You need before and after that scripture.
That's good.
And then you need to put it together. Then you need to pray to God on the very things you need. And I'm talking to myself always, right? Pray to God on what you need for that day.
That's good.
My amazing wife to be wrote me. She said, "Hey, give me 5 words that you are feeling right now in this season." And I did. You know what she did the following day?
What?
She created me a 30-day Devo. An app right there. Wow. Right? First of all, so now I got a 30-day Devo separated by those 5 words. And then she sent me an audio prayer each day for each one of those prayers too. That's her responsibility as my wife to do so. Yeah. So I have a Devo for men, she has a Devo for the women, for wives. But now, and I've already been in my prayer, but now I get to do my prayer, and I also get to do my Devo prayer. So now, so guess what? So how can we do that? So we need to actually have a time for ourselves, right? We need to actually pray. We need to pray and actually go to God like, hey, today, first and foremost, thanks for waking me up, God. Absolutely. Then today is going to be wonderful because you've made so, and I want to do this, and this, and I need this from you, and place me where I need to be. That's got to be there. Yeah. All right. That's the first part of discipline. You need to go find a way to eat some good food. I don't want to hear about you don't like breakfast. I'm not saying go eat it if you can, but I don't want to hear about you don't like breakfast. Because just eat, make good choices. The first good choice is to actually pray. Then go do something. Go for a walk. Go to the treadmill. Go outside. You don't need a gym. Just go get moving. Okay. Don't grab the phone. I only grab my phone because the Devo is on there. But then I put it back down. I don't scroll no apps. My phone is on D&D from 9:30 at night to 8 o'clock in the morning. Every single day. It's been that way for 5 years. It hasn't changed. Yeah. All right. Because I don't want anything other than just that time. Yeah. So now once you do that, and you keep your attention away, if you're going to do anything, it needs to be of the word.
Yeah.
Because the first 20, 30 minutes of your day, your brain, whatever it consumes, that's going to dictate your day. So if you listen to me right now, I'm telling you this, you literally are programming your prefrontal cortex. So whatever you consume is going to dictate your day. So if you go on and you wake up and you scrolling politics and they stressed out, yep. You wonder why by noon you're already hot and mad because you consume politics. So now so when your day gets chaotic, you can't even say, well, I'm glad I prayed today. What's the scripture I read? You can't even do that because you done read about the politics, right?
So good.
So then our Christian brothers and sisters need to actually schedule out that second time in their day for prayer and reading. Not just prayer, read. You need to schedule out this. I said, put in an appointment in your calendar. Schedule out your second prayer in the day. Why don't you say my second prayer? Well, guess what? Don't you know that Lazarus himself goes to the Lord on your behalf twice a day? So if the devil is already beating you to prayer twice a day, you're not doing 3, you're losing to the devil already.
Come on. Dang, come on.
So if you're not doing morning prayer, midday prayer, intentional, and evening prayer, you're losing to the devil each day. He knows you better than you, and he's going to the Lord on your behalf for you. I got you. Hey, Lord, I got him already. I got him. I'm here. Did they see you yet? Nope, I won today.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my clients told me yesterday, was a very profound word. He said the devil has a higher credit score than most people because people give it to him.
That is so true.
Right?
Oh, that's good.
You're just giving the devil credit for stuff that ain't even his. We just give him credit though.
Yeah, that's so good.
Right? But you give him credit because you're not actually going to and applying for your own credit with the Lord.
Come on, that's good.
You're not even trying to fill out an application with the credit with the Lord. Instead, you're going to apply for the banks. The banks want to get collateral of your property. The Lord just wants your collateral for your discipline.
Right.
He's saying if you come to me and apply for my credit, I just want your discipline in return because I already got I just want your soul.
Yes.
Right?
So good. Yeah.
So if you're not establishing a rhythm of at least 3 times, I listen, I ain't got to lie on this podcast. I read the word and pray probably 5 times a day at minimum.
Yeah.
Not to mention when my brothers reach out and say, hey, can you pray? Or, hey, I drop in a group me or.
Yes.
So it's there because I've had to build that. I've had to build it, that muscle. Again, yes, I'm a fitness coach, but the biggest muscle you're going to need to build is your spiritual fitness because we are fighting demons and cosmic powers. And the only way to fight them is with the spirit of the word. That's your sword. Yes. And if you don't know the word, if it's only nibbles, you're only going to get nibble results. Right. Okay. So that's the most simplest way. You have to have 3 times a day and some kind of physical fitness routine. I don't care if it's 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week, but if you're not putting that with prayer as well, if you're not getting a leader that actually speaks the word each day that applies to your walk, your business. I listen to Myron Golden on top of. So when I do my own prayer, this is my routine, folks. Cut and dry. I do my own prayer in the morning. Okay, I might go do some cardio. I prepare my food about 6:27 between 6:33. Prepare my food. I sit down and do my first things first, deal with my church on YouTube. Okay, so that's my second time of going through prayer. Devo, right? Then sometime in the middle of the day, between 1 and about 2:30, I pray again. Okay, then in the evening, I got Devo with my wife. It was our marriage Devo, 365 marriage vows that we do. Then after her and I done, I pray again before I go to bed. Right? So like. It's routine. I can't not do it. And I have a son that's watching.
Right.
And then I have men that I'm supposed to go to and give them advice, but I can't give them advice if I'm not feeding myself.
Right.
So how am I supposed to give them fruit to feed as the Levites did in Nehemiah when Ezra read as the leader? The Levites said, we're going to make it plain for you guys to understand it with clarity. And they were proud. They stood for hours, consumed. They reverenced the word in the Lord. We don't represent the word enough. We don't. We got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's too. Stand up for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm scrolling on my phone. Why?
Yeah.
Why? But then you wonder why you're not getting favor with the Lord. And that's why you got to go back to Luke 2:52. He grew in favor with the Lord. People, I want to be an entrepreneur. So you want to influence men and women, but you ain't got favor with the Lord yet.
That's good. Yeah.
That's the last step in Luke 2:52. That's the last step. Jesus had to get favor with God before I influence with man. Yeah. People want to be leading businesses, but they don't forget they ain't got permission yet from God. He's like, I can't trust you to lead. You ain't even came to me.
Oh my goodness.
You ain't came to me. And most people, what they don't realize is they try to get out of their jail too soon. Remember Joseph? Mm-hmm. Remember when Joseph said, hey, when you go to Potiphar, tell him that he said, tell him that shouldn't Joseph be glad that he didn't tell him because it kept him in jail longer. Because God said, you're not ready yet. Yeah. Then once he finally got out, right? But people try to go too soon when God's like, no. Imagine how I tried to walk into this the first time after my facing a 20-year sentence. I wouldn't be ready today.
Yeah.
I had to unlearn father wounds. I had to let go of trying to love the pain out of somebody. I had to let go of my own frustrations on the world. I was ready to leave. I could have let, but it would have been to where they are now. But Joseph had to get set down.
Man,
otherwise,
you said something so key. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying otherwise his now the thing about it, people to remember, because I want to make sure that you guys understand, like, you're still favored. The only thing that can block your blessing, it's not gonna block, is you. God's covenant his oath is solid, it's ironclad. It can be delayed, never denied. But the delays come from people, not God. That's the only thing. He's like, yeah, you can delay it. Moses, okay, delay it even longer. Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
You said something so key that I'm like holding on to. Number one, I love how you said pray first and even do like that way that you're showing up via exercise. Do that first, then touch your phone. Don't touch your phone before that. I love that you said that, and even the sitting down. So all of our stories look different. So sitting down looks different for everybody. And you just made me think about, like, prior to me quitting my job, I had been on the job. And initially, I was working there, and I heard God say, like, at the beginning, like, this is just transition, it's boot camp, this training. And within 2 years, I was like, all right, look, I'm ready to go now. Like, this was training, this boot camp, like, transition me on out. Then 4 years, I'm like, all right, look, bro, I'm ready to go. I'm trying to look for another job. And then 6 years, I'm like, okay, sir, what's going on? I'm ready to go. This is ghetto. I don't like it here. And then by the 7th year, he had finally told me that it was time for me to start preparing for transition. And even in that 7th year, there was still time that I had to be there. And, like, one of the things that I always tell people is that when God told me to quit my job, it wasn't an overnight decision. Like, it wasn't something he just said overnight. No, he told me to sit still. A lot of people kept asking me when I was there for 8 years, like, why haven't you left yet? I said, until God tells me I can leave, I can't leave. Like, I cannot move. And to this day, I thank God that I never moved, because it wasn't until now that I actually feel like I'm prepared. I was prepared. And it's so funny because I was having a conversation before this podcast, and I was telling one of my family members, I said, and I was telling you a little bit about how I got an opportunity that is God's hand, favor, blessing. And so something that God was telling me, the Spirit of the Lord said today, is that he had me remember back when I was on that job, and I was literally learning all these different things about teaching people how to contract and, obtaining big contracts and all that stuff. And he said, remember all that time spent, I was preparing you for this moment. And I initially was like freaking out, like, oh my goodness, God, how am I about to pull this off? And then he started giving me downloads like, girl, I trained you for this. Like, you ready. 8 years was not wasted. It was really preparation for and training for this moment. And so I love that you said, like, if he has you sitting down, sit in that place. Don't rush to get out of that place, because it could be something that he's trying to help or teach you or put inside of you. And even, like, as an entrepreneur, I quit my job and went full-time working for God. And best believe that's a journey within itself. Like, I always say this, you really have to trust God. Like, you really have to talk to him. You really have to spend time with him, because one thing I know to be true, God is so strategic. But if I'm never spending that time with him, and even having those silent moments where I shut up and I listen, I would miss out on so much of his instruction. And so I just absolutely love that you said that. I also want to read some of the comments that we had in the chat. We had some good comments.
Real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
For the comments, because I want to make sure that you get exalted and people in the comments. So you mentioned 7 years, right? So numbers and numbers are, again, I'm learning too. Numbers are a part of the Bible. People try to say numerology is not. Yes, it is. It is. Great. Keep going to Hebrew if you want to. Keep digging. You realize it.
Yeah.
So 7 years of famine, 7 years of feast, right? Okay. 7 years of famine, and then the feast, or even in either way. So while you were there, like, ready to go, God's like, no, in 7 years, this time is not a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So I want people to understand, here's what we can do with numbers of 7. 7 days in a week, things can change.
Yeah.
7 months, 7 years. Yeah. Entrepreneurs, as you say, you stayed there. Let's go. Nehemiah. People love to say, well, if you read Nehemiah's Entrepreneur, it's a great book. It is, if you understand how to read it, though. Not just, oh, Nehemiah's a great book to read as your entrepreneur. How? Nehemiah stayed on the wall.
Yeah.
He stayed on the wall. Sanballat and Tobias came and said, hey, come on down. No. He said, why will I come down and stop doing a good thing for you?
Yeah.
And then they threatened him, and he said, Lord, strengthen my hands. He said, we will now work with a shovel and stand with a sword. They will not. He stayed on the wall. If you are an entrepreneur, and everybody shouldn't be,
yeah,
and God will tell you when you shouldn't be, you need to listen. If God's saying anything to you, walk away, right? But those that know that they are entrepreneurs and they're on fire for the Lord, don't tell me that you Nehemiah if you're not Nehemiah. Nehemiah stayed on his wall. Ash had to stay put at her job.
Yeah.
You have to stay put. You got to be willing to. And guess what? They built that wall in 52 days.
Yeah.
52 days. But guess what got built outside of just the wall? What? Got this last night. We go to Nehemiah 7 and 8. 8 came when Ezra came in, and 8, they built their desire for the word.
Yeah.
They built vertical. People try to build horizontal so much. You're like, you ain't even built with me yet. You're trying to build out horizontally on earth, but you ain't built with me. And you want your business to be built, but you ain't came and built with me.
That's so good.
Again, where have you gotten favor with the Lord first before you try to influence man?
Yeah.
So 7 days, 7 months, 7 years. And you will go through famine. You mentioned, and I'm glad to the comments, but you mentioned, you and I talked when I was still open to working with women. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, God sat me and I was like, I was crying. I was on one of the weekends and I was like, I got to let it go. Yeah. My very first client was a woman.
Yeah.
9 months, almost 100-pound weight loss. I had to let go coaching women just about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Talking about I'm about to come on year 18 here in May. Mm-hmm. And predominantly, I've worked with women. I've done the whole gambit, PCOS, you name it. But what I realized, I'm working with men. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm a man. When I deal with issues, I'm a man. And God needs to talk to his men. So I had to painfully let part of, and guess what? It's been scary. Because now I got to essentially, this whole thing now has to then content and just favor. And I had to go through it because I was like, no, this is what I want you to do. And it ain't going to turn into a monetary value yet. But I asked God at the beginning of the year, I said, Lord, and we go to the comments here, but they'll love to hear this. Okay. I said, hey, Lord, I said, look, this year, just before I met my wife, I said, I need to be a river for my family and no longer a rock. Number one, right? I said, I want to be a river for my family, no rock, and also a river for your church. I want to be able to tithe the church $1 million for my business whenever that comes. Yeah. And I said, I need $250,000 total in business this year. I need $250,000, a home, and a Corvette. Yeah. You know what God gave me? A wife.
Come on.
And we said at birthdays, he gave me a wife. I don't know where I got you. He's a funny guy. I give you a wife.
Yeah.
Because that's the key to all of this that you want.
He gave you what you needed.
Exactly.
To access. And that's so good. Okay, comments. I know we have a question in there. I'm gonna get to it in just a second. Because that is so good. Like something else that he showed me is that you never know who's attached to your next level. Like it doesn't always have to be like your partner in a relationship. You never know who God is trying to intertwine you within the seasons that you're in. And I think that's why, as we were talking before the show about that discernment, like that's why that discernment is so real, and just staying in conversation with the Father, because so like going back to what you said about being sat down, even as an entrepreneur, I was still in the famine. Like last year, 2025, at the beginning of the year, that was rough. I kid you not. I was like, man, you ain't called me to quit my job because I'm broke. I ain't got no money. My savings is gone. I was like, this ghetto. But you know what it did for me though? And I tell this testimony a lot. I was studying the story of Elijah. And something that stuck out to me was the story about how the ravens had fed Elijah. And I was like, why did God choose ravens? I was so curious about this story. And so when I was studying it, it was saying, when I studied like the bird of a raven, it was like, this is like one of the creatures that would make no sense to feed humans. So the fact that God was using them to provide for him every day, it was almost as if he was saying, I'm doing the impossible. And so I remember this one week of my life that I'll never forget. I didn't have any food at all. And I remember I had people reaching out to me every day randomly. I was prideful. I didn't tell anybody out what I was going through. And so people were reaching out to me like, "Hey, you want to go out to eat? Hey, I was thinking about you. I'm gonna bring you some food. Hey, I'm gonna bring you some money. God told me to give it to you." And in my mind, I'm like, these people don't even know I'm out here struggling. I ain't got not $0 in my bank account. The credit cards was calling me, and I was asking them for jobs because I ain't had nothing. And then even in that period, God was showing me how the Bible literally, when He says, "My word is living," I felt like Elijah because I was like, how is it that I'm getting fed from all of these people and I ain't opened my mouth and said anything?
Mm-hmm.
And even in that, something about that waiting period. For me, I said I felt like I was in my wilderness season because I was also studying the wilderness. And
Mm-hmm.
something so beautiful about the wilderness, or even in famine, to me, that births true intimacy with God because you're really put in a position where you have to rely on the provider to be the provider, for Him to be the supplier. You have to really learn that all these things we might think serve as our sources. No, 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 no. I learned in that famine season, God is source. Anything else is a resource that He uses. On the job, I thought the job was source. I was idolizing the
Mm-hmm.
job above God. But once He told me to leave, I said, wait a minute. Like, I ain't never been in no position where I really got to trust you with all aspects of my life. I mean, a few of them cool, but like when I had to trust every part of my life with God, it was like, whoa. And even stemming from like me being younger, I remember I had men issues, like trust issues with men. And so I think that one thing that it did for me was it helped me begin to trust God, because ultimately how you see man is how you see God, because literally we're His creation. And so God was showing me, even in the famine period, like He needed to break down a lot of stuff that I was carrying in order for me to be in a position I'm in now. Because being honest, bro, if God would have allowed the contracts to flow at that season last year, I'd have been prideful. I'd have been like, oh yeah, look what I did. I did this. I did that. I did this. I did that. I did this. And it was one night last year in March. I had been crying 7 days in a row. I never forget it because I'm not really a crier, but I was
Mm-hmm.
crying. I was on the phone with my mama every day, just crying like I don't know what to do. My bills is due. I don't know. And I remember literally, I think it was like on the seventh day that I didn't spend my time crying. My parents told me like, we're gonna help you, but you got to figure something out. You gonna have to get you a job or something. I remember I was in my living room. I called my pastor. I break down crying to him like, look, it's rough around here. I don't know what to do. And he said something to me. He asked me like, what is it that you need? And I said, this is what I need. He said, all right, I hit you up in 2 days. It's done, right? And so hearing that, I'm like, that's what's up, but that really don't solve all of my problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so after I get off the phone with him, it's like I was resisting, like having this like moment. But
Mm-hmm.
after I got off the phone with him, all I could do was literally just cry and cry and cry. It was an ugly cry. Just know it was bad. I felt like Joe because literally I had a jacket on, man. I stripped my jacket off. I got on my knees. I felt like I needed some sackcloth, and I just got to cry. And as my tears are coming down, I remember saying, but God, I refuse to lose. I refuse to give up and believing in you. I refuse to not have faith. I refuse. I just started saying I refuse. And I remember I said that day, like, I'm about to start speaking faith talk. Like, I'm about to just really believe you. Like, if you say you're gonna do it, you're doing it. Period. Like, and I told myself I cannot accept anything less than faith. And I
Yes.
remember that night when I started just proclaiming His word. I stopped. This is what I did. I cried my feelings, and then I proclaimed His word. I said, your word is true. You said your word won't return to you void. You said it's going to accomplish what you set it out to do. So I'm just going to say what you said. I'm going to hold you accountable to what you said. And it was in that period that I believe, because I shifted, he started moving. I think that sometimes he just waiting on us to shift with him. I think that we be quenching the spirit, and all he needs is us just to flow with the spirit, to give him permission to do what he could do in the first place. It's like literally being in a house and I tell him, okay, come on in. Like, he been at the door the whole time just waiting on me. He been knocking, he been calling, but I
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't opening myself up to him. And I remember that night God said to me, He said, now that you've reached the ending of yourself, you can finally see me. I felt that night like I had to die to myself for real.
Yes.
That was the biggest night I understood what the word surrender meant, because I felt like I surrendered it all. I said, I ain't got nothing left. I ran out of ideas. Everything I tried sucked. So at this point, it's only up from here because we at bottom. And I kid you not, like the testimony of seeing where I was last year, March 2025, to this year, 2026, bro, my life is completely different. I literally said on my mouth earlier today, I said, I feel like I'm living a dream and I can't believe that this is something I'm experiencing. The things, the opportunities I'm getting, I never would have expected. Like little old Ashley from Flint, little old girl who was raised in the hood, could be able to say, like, out of my mouth, these are the things that God is doing for me. And I also believe that it's because he can trust me now. I don't think he could trust me because I wasn't making decisions that were trustworthy. Even in another thing, because I don't want to be too long-winded, but another thing that he showed me was he started teaching me the art of stewardship, and not just stewardship. I think we contain stewardship into like a small box, like we see stewardship as just finances. No, going back to what you said, this body is a temple. That's stewardship. My house is stewardship. The children is stewardship. The relationship is stewardship. Everything God has given me is literally his, and it's just a gift for me to steward. And so he changed my perspective on everything, and especially in the finances though, because he had told me part of the reason I have hit rock bottom was okay, I'm gonna be honest, most of the reason why I hit rock bottom was because I just wasn't stewarding well what he had gave me. He had given me ideas. He had told me how to budget. Like God literally was giving me keys, I just wasn't using them. And so now I believe the way that he's moving, I can't afford not to listen. I can't afford not to partner with him because it's so big that I have to lean on him. So going back to what you said, just a minute ago, I love how you said prioritizing getting those reps of prayer in. That's what I heard. Like get them reps of prayer in, because if you aren't, the devil is out here like, well, they ain't putting no work in. I got enough work in. And just once again, another moment of transparency. Yesterday, I was so like anxious. I was so overwhelmed. And this is coming from a person who been literally living faith talk like since last year. I was so overwhelmed yesterday, and I know exactly why I was overwhelmed. Number one, because towards the end of my day, I hadn't opened that Bible. Towards the middle of my day, I had opened that Bible. I usually like to at least start my morning off with the Bible, then listen to it throughout the day. I'll be honest with you. Yesterday, was I doing that? No, I was so busy trying to do so many different things, and I was beginning to worry. I had so much anxiety, and I'm like, somebody had one of my cousins called me, and she was like, is something wrong with you? And I was like, no, nothing's wrong, what's up? And she said, you just seem overwhelmed. And I was like, now that you mentioned it, I am overwhelmed actually. I'm a little stressed out, now that you mentioned it. And I ended up getting off the phone with her, and I stopped and I prayed. And I was reminded of Matthew chapter 6, where it says, seek first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And before that, it talks about not worrying, knowing that, sufficient is enough is in today. No, sufficient. Sufficient are the things that are in today. I'm paraphrasing. But he reminded me of that scripture. Had I not continued to be in scripture, would I have remembered that? Probably not. So I went to bed like, what, God? I'm done worrying. I don't even know how I was out here letting myself. It's because I wasn't getting the reps in. I was out here struggling. And then when I woke up this morning, I said, oh yeah, we got to go ahead and put our headphones on. Let's go ahead and get into this book. I need to hear from you before I leave this house. And I saw a difference. Like yesterday, I was literally running around with my head cut off. Today, I was just like, oh yeah, it's good. And I don't think it's a coincidence that after I chilled out, I'm having these conversations about how more is coming. If we would have had a conversation yesterday, I'd have.
Yeah, noise. There's noise.
Yeah. So I guess I could go and read the comments now. I had to get that off my chest.
It's all good.
Okay, so Elaine has said, amen, that is so simple. And she was talking about like when you were talking about the discipline, when you were hitting us with the discipline when it hurt. So she had said, ouch. I had said, ouch. She said, that's a huge stronghold in the body of Christ. The control of our belly over our spirit is dangerous. Fasting more, eating less. She also said, pray without ceasing. Prayer should be our heart's posture. That's true. And then E. Bitten, my favorite cousin in the whole wide world, he said, phone be having me in the chokehold. My girl Brittany said, amen, that's good. Elaine said, God wastes nothing. He uses it all for his glory. My girl Brittany said, absolutely. And then Elaine had a question. She said, what are some things we can do to be considered physical activity outside of the gym?
Oh, I mean, please don't do pickleball without some exercise. All right. I say that because I know it's a fad now and it's becoming popular. But let me give you a stat. I'm estimating here because I'm forgetting. I know it's changed too as well. But when pickleball first began, it was a couple years ago, and pickleball became very popular. But guess what else went up? Medical cost. There was over $50 million in medical costs for injuries all related to pickleball by an older crowd. I think it was like 45 or 50 and older. All right. So I say that to like, don't go try an exercise or activity or a hobby if you ain't at least learning to get those ligaments stretched out and whatnot. But outside of the gym, you can go to the park and do absolutely the most simplest things. People, especially men, but people, let's say we are, when I say men, we just the people, the person, right? We are at our best. Go back to our youthful days. When we were kids, we played.
Right.
Our body felt well when we played.
Right.
We went outside, we moved around, we climbed on trees, we threw stuff around, we ran, we did double dutch, jump rope, like we played. Yeah. The body is a machine. It's synergistically connected by what's called, I don't want to get too much science here, but the mitochondria itself. So that's the battery cells in your body. And when those battery cells are off, everything is off. A thing to note here, ladies and gentlemen, is that your gut health is tied to your brain health. It's called the gut-brain barrier. So when your gut is thrown off, you're going to be stressed out, making bad decisions. It's literally connected. Yeah. So when you don't go get sunlight, which is the first thing you should do in the morning, unless you live somewhere in the Midwest or whatnot, you need literally vitamin D, get a red light mask and stare into it, because then your body gets growing. So you can still get outside if you can. So you can go outside and, I don't know, do roller skating. Why are adults act like we can't be kids again?
This is good.
Why do so many adults act like we can't go buy a set of rollerblades and learn how to do it, the awkward stance all over again? Yep, the knees ain't well. Get some knee pads. But go outside and try to do something you did when you was 15, 20 years younger. Yeah. What's the harm in falling? See, we so worried about getting judged by people and these kids. We put on a facade for kids like we got to be tough. I'm an adult. I can't fall. I can't get hurt. They're going to laugh at you and you should laugh too. You fell. Yeah. You fell. Like, go fall. That's learning, because now you adjusting your body's like, oh, what is painful like again? So when kids are birthed and they learn, oh, that's hot, that hurts. They learn, so then they build up calluses and they get tougher. Yeah. But we age ourselves by saying, well, I'm 30s and I'm 40s and I'm 50s and I can't. Wait a minute. The last time I checked, life don't really start working out for you till about 35, 40 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
You just now thriving. Yeah. So why you gotta start descending in age when you can go and be physical outside? You can go and create a group. Hey, get you some friends and we just gonna go outside and go for a walk. Yeah. You can grab some dumbbells. People gonna make fun of you. Grab some dumbbells and walk and power walk. These old folks be killing folks. They be out here walking in the mall 100 miles an hour before the mall open. If they can do it, why can't the middle-aged folks do it? So in terms of tasks or things to do, I'm gonna stop ragging on the weighted vest, because they're not for people try to say they're for. But if you need a weighted vest, go get your weighted vest and put it on and walk. But you don't need a weighted vest. You just need to go walk. Yeah. But go, like, there's not a thing I say go do outside of the gym that you need a gym for. If you don't like a gym, great. Go buy your own dumbbells, resistance bands, go to the park. During the height of COVID, I couldn't train my clients in the gym. I put a whole gym equipment, essentially bags, in my Camaro. Yeah. I put an ad up. I'm going to be doing training at the parks for athletes that were trying to get back into school for college, and they couldn't go because schools were closed down. And for people. So I was training folks in the park with equipment that I bought from Play It Again Sports out of my truck and my Camaro. Yeah. You can go and do a gym in a bag. You don't need nothing fancy. You ain't got to be branded, nothing. We forget that we have the ability to play. Yeah. Our bodies are, we can play. And it's you gonna have these coaches online that's trying to, and then when you want to get beyond that and really want to build yourself and get in a rhythm and a routine, and so that way you can start leveraging time and making, different things happen in your life, absolutely get a coach if that's what you want to do. But if you just say, hey, I can't go to the gym today, or I don't want to, I get gym culture is a little weird now today too. Yeah. Just go outside and just do the most awkwardest thing you possibly can. Go try to throw a football. It's gonna feel silly. Do it.
That's real.
Go learn. Go to Top Golf and go on the off hours when it's low, and go spend $30 for an hour at a bay and go swing some golf clubs and fall off yourself. Like, go do these things. You're not trying to turn pro. You're just trying to tell your heart that, hey, I still want to keep you pumping blood.
Yes.
Like, so we overcomplicate the idea of activity. So in the Christian, what we did at our church, and if you're a church leader on here, take this idea. But last summer, going into fall, we had a Choose Well initiative. Our pastor was very zealous. At first, the goal was to lose 5,000 pounds as a body at church. And I was like, even that's a lot. As a coach, I'm like, we got a huge congregation because we got like 6 total campuses or 7. I said, but 5,000 pounds in 50 days, okay. And then he moved it to 12,000. But what we did with that, though, we created a digital book for people to have recipes and wellness guides. And then we had classes at the church. So it was like you doing a HIIT class, a strength class, a walking group.
Wow.
So it was all, and then it was campus led. So then you had people that, okay, this is just the church. You just show up. So we was outside, battle ropes on the church parking lot, dumbbells, mats and all, kettlebells, bands. They had a Zumba group that was doing Zumba. Other group was doing walking. Just activity outside. That's all you have to do. This is not complicated. Now, if you like, I got to lose some weight, that's a different story. Hit a little bit harder, need a gym. But we just want to be active. Just go do whatever seems the most goofiest thing outside. Yeah. I promise you, no one cares. No one cares.
It's so funny because my grandmother commented, and I was about to say what she told me yesterday. I was at her house yesterday, and I was telling her about how I need to get my grass cut, and I was about to go and hire one of my friends, like, hey, come cut this grass. And she said, Ashley, yeah, you need to just go ahead and get your lawnmower. She said, that's exercise. Go ahead and just get your lawnmower. And I had told her initially, like, I don't want to cut my grass because I don't want to cut it. But then when she said, that's exercise, because I told her was, I work so much. Like, literally, my life has been work, church, home. And I told her, I was like, I need to get back into doing stuff that's just for me, that's fun. Like, I like exercising because it feels like it's my own thing. And so last year, if I'm being honest with myself, I didn't really do much exercise. I did more like work and I'm, again, I like to be transparent on my podcast. And that's where this weight came from, because I just was working, eating, church, home, sleep. And I was like, I really want to get back active. And so it's so funny because she mentioned in the comments, she said, amen, cut the grass.
Yeah, she's right.
I'm gonna cut that grass. Elaine sent another comment. She said, thank you, love the gym, and a bag idea. One more question. She said, are probiotic and prebiotic and any other vitamins necessary? Whew.
Necessary. First, I would always ask age. But because most food is terrible and most people don't understand that their gut health is not where it needs to be, it absolutely is. That's just one part of it, though. If you really want to, again, I don't work with women anymore, but it's not going to help. I have a sponsor who will literally, there's gut protocols that I can give you that you should actually utilize, because it's going to fix you, like I said, at the core, which is the mitochondria level. But to answer the question, they're necessary, especially if you have bad eating choices and also gut issues. But what you don't want to do is listen to the social media folks and just throw more fiber. More fiber is never really always the issue or the fix. More fiber does not mean you're going to now have, good bowel movements, lose weight. That's not. If you're struggling to lose weight, it's a hormonal issue. Your liver's probably messed up. It's probably backed up. The liver's job is to transport hormones, and if the liver's off, then it can't function well. So women dealing with PCOS and perimenopause or whatnot, the liver's off. So we have a product called Bile Boost to boost your bile acid, which comes from the liver. So let me add in. So we talk about the routine in the day. When you wake up in the morning, take you about 8 ounces of water, warm water, put a little bit of salt, mineral in it, and electrolyte, so that way you actually can get your thyroid functioning and get your body's bile acid ready to digest and break down food. If you don't do that, and your first thing to do is either just put food in your body or throw caffeine in there, your whole gut's going to be off. So now you can't break down food and you feel like you're stuck, weight not going anywhere, because you have to prepare it for what you're going to do for that day. And if your body's not warmed up, if your body temperature, if you're not waking up with a body temperature of 97.6, you got a thyroid issue. The bare minimum. If your body temperature don't pick up after your first meal of the day, you have a thyroid issue. You can fix it easily by doing that warm water treat. If that doesn't fix it, that means you had a deeper problem. You got to get your TSH ran, but whatnot. But nevertheless, like, these are gut issues that most people deal with because they're like, oh, it's just aging. No, it's not. It's not aging. It's not. It's not aging. It's my reason for getting to health and fitness, because I saw our Black community not having the access and information to health and exercise. So that was my whole reason to get started as a coach at 2007. Right? It's still prominent to this day. But the internet is free, but there's so much information, so many lies, so many information. Right? You need somebody, and some people are honest, but at the same time, trying to cite. That's why coaching is important, because you ain't got to sift through it. So probiotics and prebiotics are good, but look at your gut health and start from what food products am I eating. But more importantly, if you feel like things aren't moving in my gut, don't do a detox shake, please. Don't. Your liver and kidneys are their own natural detox. If you need any questions on which products to buy in terms of that'll help that, I literally send you the message. I'm gonna tell you right now, these are third-party tested, so they're not cheap because they're pharma-graded, products, because we make sure that we're patent that they actually are true and not just fillers. But there's two things I will always want people to do in terms of the products, so that way those two products are guaranteed to get you moving. Then after there, start eating better, and you'll start. Oh, my gut's good. I can think clearly now. I'm making better decisions. I can hear the Lord. I promise you, once your gut, because your gut is tied to your brain. So when it's when you eat, that's why I got a bad stomach ache, and they start getting all angry and frustrated, because it's tied to you. It's literally tied to it, right? So the gut is off, the brain is off. It's it's hand in hand. You cannot. So we say definitely do those two, but there's deeper ways, and there's probably more to the story, sure. But you can definitely message me on any platform, find my name here, and let me know that you came from the podcast, and I'll definitely assist you accordingly.
That is so good. You know what's funny? Every time my grandma gets on, I feel like I gotta be conscious of my time. What episode? She said, Ashley, the episode was like 2 hours, and I was like, look, Granny, when it's good, it's good. And so, I do want to ask you my famous last question that I ask everybody. But before I do that, I want to invite the audience. If you have any more questions that you want to ask him while we have, access to my brother, please feel free to do it in the chat before we wrap up. But for you, my final question is, with this being all about mindset, if you consider the current mindset that a person has and the mindset you will want them to have, what's the shift that happens in between?
Oh, the shift in between, not the first step. The shift in between us, it's an identity shift. So
first step is fine too, but that's
you gotta surrender. You have to learn what surrendering is, and that's where coaching comes in. When you go to church, you go to get led by your pastor. So why can't you go to people that are in your field or feel the desire to be in your leadership? When we talk about stewarding my money, you think the Lord would not benefit you and give you, what you do if you go and invest in a coach? Yeah, right. So the thing about it in the Christian world is like, well, why can't you do this out of love? Whoa, this is a gift from the God. He loves me. I still have to, but my responsibility and my skills still come with an investment, not a fee, an investment. Yeah. So you gotta first raise your hand. Hey, I need help. You gotta be able to surrender. Say, I need help. Yeah. Okay, and then you gotta get so that. But what happens in between that though? It's an entire identity shift. Yes. It's an identity transformation. Like you said, who you were before is not who you are then. You couldn't handle what he would have gave you now then. I couldn't handle what he gave me now then. None of us can. Yeah. 7. Just think of your lives in 7. And if everybody does that, let me think of my lives in iterations. 7 days. Because that gets you going. 7 months, some progress going in 7 years, right? Like and not to mention that the number 9 is the number of completion anyway. But we talk about sevens. God says it in the Bible. It's not 7 times 7. No, he said 70 times over, right? So even then, we got to look at this is a scripture. This is Bible. So why do we not take the basic instructions before leaving Earth and do and apply them while on Earth? Yeah. Right. So in that between that beginning and that new mindset. That new identity, rather, it's literally identity shift. You have to die within yourself. Yeah. Submit unto his will. Because he gave men, his discipleship talking. He gave men a will, which is his will, a work, and then a woman in that order. But if you don't take his will and you don't do his work, you won't get your partner. I'm not gonna say woman because it's obviously woman hurts. You won't get that. You won't, because you got to first take his will. And then you got to do his work. And doing his work might means dying, not might dying to yourself, and then go be a student under who he has called and appointed over and for you, so that way you can then walk into that new identity. The thing about it, the biggest struggle is that people spend, obviously I work in fitness, but mine is completely mindset too as well. But they spend 5, 6, 7 years getting out of shape, whether it be out of shape, just like they can't move around or they gain weight. Yeah. And then they think a coach supposed to change their life in 6 months or a year.
Come on. Oh my gosh.
You're going to need about 3 years with a good coach. You need about 3 years. How are you going to tell somebody that you spent from 20 to 35 when you gain 50 pounds, now they're supposed to get you down that. Now you might lose the weight first, but now I have a client who I love him because we talk about the word a lot. Walter's been with me for almost 3 years now. He's gained weight and lost weight. You think he with me because of the weight loss? It's what he's getting, because every time he has to shift in his life, we talk about it, and we bring back to the word as well too, here and now. But then it's something new that he has to learn. His identity continues to be built. Yeah, continues to be built, because it's not complete yet.
Yeah,
he can't just, and he's not trying to just leave me and go about on his own. Because what I'm teaching him, you can't just okay, let me go. What I'm saying on this podcast, you can't go and try this on your own. Yeah, you can't. I promise you, you cannot.
Yeah,
I've had a coach when I was coaching clients. I still had a coach. I had a trainer.
Yeah,
my time I was competing, so that I can do what he needed me to do without me focusing on that in my business.
Exactly.
Right. So if you've been in a pain point in your life and you spent a couple years kind of in that famine stage, you're like, I know God is calling me, I know the feast is coming. You probably need to go ahead and say, hey, I need to get somebody to help me get through this part.
Yeah.
Because now I need them to guide me. I do. And that first transformation starts with your physical fitness. I don't let nobody else tell you that you can skip a physical routine and still get to the top of the mountain. Because how you climbing on bad limbs?
That's good.
How? You have a new body, but you have to unlearn the old ways. Right. You can't put new wine cloths on old wine skins.
So good.
Again, what I talk about and do is Bible. It just has to be like, make it plain. You cannot put new wine cloths on old wine skins. Okay, so you can't be trying to transform and still haven't transformed internally. You might change on the outside, but your soul ain't saved. Because even if you build something up, this is Nehemiah 7 and 8. If you build something up, on the outside it might look good, but if it's built on anything like just milk word, it's gonna fall apart. It's a matter of when, not if. So that timeline between that beginning and the end is identity shift, and it's gonna take you a few years. And that's the honest part about coaching. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not gonna say something. Oh, it's gonna take. No, you might get a whole lot done in a year on the outside, but you're gonna run into the same crew. It's no different than baptism. When you get baptized, your old life came down on you and said, I want to bring you back.
Yeah, it's so good.
So when you go through transformation and you're trying to become this new person, whether it be physically fit, socially, emotionally, spiritually, financially, one of my friends, he's an old client of mine, once he started making a certain amount of money, he had to go to therapy because it was so much money. He had to learn, how do I handle this? Right?
Yeah.
So he sought help. So we all have to go through identity shifts when we reach new levels in our life. That's why every time Jesus, when I performed a miracle, so boom, they go back to my Father. Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. Because he continued to grow. Again, he grew in stature, okay? Wisdom, stature. He had favor with his Father. And then influence a man. And he had to continue to influence a man. And by doing so, he had to always go back to get favor with his Father. And what do I need to do? Let me go pray. And that's your walk is no different.
That is so good. I love how in the comments, my mother said, it's been good even if it goes over your time. And it literally has been such a good episode. Even from the comments, I see that a lot of people have taken something from it. One person, Elaine, I love how she mentioned what you said about the investment versus free. Because recently this year, I ended up getting me a coach. I mean, I've had coaches, but like I invested. For real, in a coach this year. And something God told me before it happened was that you'll spend so many years, 40 years wandering because you're trying to learn something versus hiring somebody who's already learned it and can save you time and fast lane you into what he's doing. And so God was even telling me like it was a form of obedience for me to get the coach because she had the information. She literally is the blueprint, and God is really like fast laning me into one of the visions He gave me because I just simply hired a coach. And once again, that also ties in with like stewardship. You know, if we're stewarding our finances and asking God to be the owner of the finances, because it's not just about like how much money you're receiving. It's about how much
Mhm.
money you're keeping. How are you assigning your money? I'm telling you all the things I'm learning. And God had told me there's several things God has done for me when it comes to like spending. He told me to start asking Him, how am I spending my money, right? And He also told me to stop limiting Him with how I spend my money. So this year I'm going on a trip. Next month, oh thank you Jesus, I'm going on a vacation.
Nice.
Woo! Praise Him! I'm so excited. But I'm going on a vacation, and last year I think it was around like November-ish. They had my family members had said like, yeah, we're going on a retreat again, and I missed it last year. And so they asked me if I was going. I was like, yeah, I'm going. Now, how am I gonna pay for this? I have absolutely no idea. But I remember I told you I went to that faith talk. Like, no, if God says I'm going to something or I'm doing something, I don't have to know all the steps in between. I just trust Him and I follow His instruction. And so, I literally had no idea how this was gonna happen. And I kid you not, after I said yes, literally maybe like a month or two later, that's when I was able to get one of these contracts that paid for my trip. And so last night, going back to the worry, because I got to go back to that worry. I was worrying last night because there's another trip that's happening. I'm trying to be auntie that travels. I'm rich auntie that go everywhere. And so there's another trip that's happening in July, and my cousin, same relation. Her mom is the first trip. She's the next one, and she had been asking me like, Ashley, are you going? And at first I was like, nah. And so I was like, I've been asking God like literally, Lord, if it be Thy will for me to go on this trip, if you really want me there, I trust you to do it. I might not know how, but I trust you. So this is what I said earlier in the year.
Mhm.
And then I gave up. I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. I just don't know. And so she comes back to me. She tells me like, oh yeah, we've lessened the price a little bit. So the price became like, okay, maybe I could do this. Then I started looking at flights and I'm like, I don't know. So last night, just putting y'all back into my state of worry. Last night I'm looking at flights and I was like, how I'm gonna pull this off in 2 months? I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And I'm going back to like, how am I going to do
Mhm.
this? Right? And that's where that worry was at. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna pull this off, and I'm gonna pay for this for my dog, and I'm gonna pay for this, and I'm gonna pay for this, and then. And once again, just going back to what I said, I prayed and I was reminded of what He said in Matthew, and I said, I'm going to bed and I'm going to be peaceful because I don't have to figure all this out. If you really want me to do this, then I'm going to allow you to show me how you're going to do it. And just going again back to that conversation I had today, it's so funny because I was mentioning that I didn't know if I could go on this trip, but I told them, I said, I just believe God. That's how I feel. Like I really just trust God. And so now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going on this trip. Like I'm pretty sure because what did I do? I'm not limiting God. I think that
Mhm.
sometimes we have we try to have faith with our eyes, but that's not what the scripture said. You know, we walk by faith, not by sight. And I believe that we have to even think about walk being a verb. It's action, right? It says faith without works is dead. And I believe that we have to believe according to what He said and not according to what we see, because sometimes what
Mhm.
we see can mislead us in making decisions. So if I would have looked at my current account and I said no to some of these things, I'd have missed a blessing that was associated with it. What I didn't tell the audience is that I went on a trip 2 years ago, same person organizing the trips. When I had this job, let me tell y'all, I had no money. I had a full-time job. I didn't really have a savings. Let me just say, my life with money has not been the best. And so I had this job, and my cousin had asked me 2 years ago. She asked me if I was going on a trip. I personally was like, I don't think I can afford to go because I don't have any money. I'm living in this poverty mindset, not living in can God do it? I'm living in what can I do? Again, that's not me displaying faith because I'm not displaying faith. I'm literally limiting God because I'm not saying yes to what He's telling me. So God tells me I'm going on this trip. I was like, what? My cousin tells me I'm gonna have you work on this trip. You going on it? Okay. We figured it out. All I had to do is pay for the flight. I go on a trip. If I would have said no, I would have missed what was waiting for me. Bro, I went on that trip and God had told me He was plugging me with the people that was going to help me quit my job.
Oh
And
man.
I kid you not, I came back and I got connected literally with one of the people who strategically helped me quit my job, who
Oh,
helped
that's
me
praise God.
start learning more about finances and just bring the story forward. Now I'm doing business with the very person that I met on that trip. I met this lady in Aruba, and now we're real life friends and sisters, and she's been teaching me all these things. But what if I would have said no because I just didn't believe in what he could do? And that's something I want to say to the audience, whoever's listening. I want you to ask God that He approve it, because if He approved it, then He's going to provide the provision for it. But if we close the door on something that He's trying to do for us just because we can't see how He's going to do it, we can miss out on the opportunity. And that's my story.
If all I've seen, if all of you seen is what you've seen with your own eyes, you've seen nothing at all.
That's good.
And that's what we gotta remember with faith. If all you've seen is what you've seen with your own eyes, you've seen nothing at all.
That is so good. I think I need some water. I don't know about you. I also need a towel to fan myself off because this episode was so good. You dropped so much fire.
Yeah.
Literally, it was so much heat. I just want to say, just take a moment to truly say thank you for saying yes to the threads. Thank you for saying yes to the pre-call. Thank you for saying yes to the episode. I know that I personally was blessed. This was beyond what I even expected or imagined, and so I just want to say thank you, for your surrender and being able to share your testimony on my podcast tonight.
Absolutely. I thank you for you put it out there, and me responding to it was being obedient. Like I knew that I needed to get out more with speaking this year because I have, and I started writing 9 more books before I leave this earth. Let my wife said, she said I need to write probably 20 more. She has a 40 goal. My goal when I met her was 10 because I've already wrote 1, so I have 9 more. But she was like, yeah, more. And doing that requires them to speak more. So the audience tonight learned some first that one of my mom or watches or whatnot, they'll probably hear some first too. But you just being obedient and just listen and respond as your questions is opening up because there's nothing for me to hide anymore. Fully surrendering is me. We all have, and I'm an example, and I say that proudly that I fully surrendered because even though I've had it tattooed on me forever before I even walk with God, only God can judge me. It's been on my forearm since I was 16, and I literally lived that. Like it was like the whole 8 Mile and Eminem when he was like, now what else you can say about me? Like, there's nothing you can say about me that I don't know. So, my only I fight the spirit with the word. And I just aim to make sure that the same way I was living a life that I did before, and trying to prove it to the world now, I have nothing to prove to God except that I love him loyally and that nothing that he does for me is going to be in vain. So,
yeah. So as we begin to wrap up, I just want to say thank you everybody for tuning in to the episode on tonight. As you know, we air every Tuesday and Thursday. And if you happen to know somebody that you think would make a great guest for this show, I just want to say please send them to our website, millionairemindsetx.com, and let them know to feel free to sign up, to be a guest. But also, y'all go and leave us a review on the podcast episode. We need the reviews because we're trying to get sponsored out here in the name of Jesus.
Yes, ma'am.
Leave us a review. So with that being said, I just want to ask you one more time, brother, do you have any final words you want to leave us with before we close?
I just want people to really just examine your walk. Here's a question I'll leave to charge your hearts with. This is going to be heavy. But I asked not my co-leads, but my other group of men who are also leaders as well too, this very question. And also I do have an assessment. It is geared toward men. If you are a woman and you want to do an assessment similar, fortunately enough, my wife has her own container that she actually works with women only. So that's how we're able to handle that. But nevertheless, the assessment will tell the men where they are in terms of Luke 2:52, in their life. So beyond that though, here's my question. If someone spent 30 days with you and they spent 30 days with you and watch how you steward, watch how you serve, watch how you live as a leader, as a mother, as a father, as a parent, if they spent 30 days with you, what would they say about your leadership, and would you like it? If someone spent 30 days with you or asked to see your bank account for a year, what would they say about your priorities? So this is your opportunity to audit.
That's good.
So with that being said, lastly, if you're a man that wants to work with me, you can find me on social media at my handle here, generally Instagram or Facebook. DM me, let me know. We can either get you through the iron, the assessment first, but I have the iron audit, which is a free 7-day walk with me. I have the Forge channel, which is 30 days walk with me, which teaches you to get up, work out of the day and prayer and scripture. Or you can fully say, hey, look, I'm ready to surrender and actually get coaching as an option as well too. But either way, I'm going to forge you through the fire.
That is so good. Forge you through the fire. I love that. So y'all heard it here first, guys. If you want to find him, I'll also have his information in the podcast bio as well. So when the episode comes out, if you want to reach out, utilizing that information, let me know. Also, if you go to my Instagram, you can also get plugged in with him because we have shared information all over social media. So either way, you can get connected. And once again, I just want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. And with that being said, I love you all, and I can't wait to see you next at the next conversation at the table. All right. Peace.
All right.